All right, welcome in. We are live. We are here ready to get into this new J. Cole project. We've stayed disciplined. We haven't listened to it yet. We didn't listen to it this morning, so this will be the first reactions. We've got the lyrics pulled up. The genius is here as well too, so we can stay locked in, see what he's talking about. We're gonna, Jay, obviously we're experts. We gotta grade like we're rap executives ourselves, but yeah, we gotta stay locked in as well too when J. Cole gets the pen out, So we did the practice genius run with Don Tolliver last week. It went well, so hopefully we're locked in with J. Cole this week. And I guess in some ways, thankfully as well too, the NBA got a lot of their trades out of the way. Hey, we are a sports podcast. We are NBA journalists here at the REMINGTOM pod. It is what it is. But we are the NBA did, of course, have the trade deadline yesterday, but a lot of the trades did go down on Tuesday as well too. Of course, though, speaking of the fall off, do we have to talk about the Anthony Davis trade to the Wizards? Hey, you have to say it. It is what it is. And is this where the part where we admit something that nobody's like, hey, you didn't have to admit that. No, nobody was pressuring you there. It's like, hey, there's like a side where it's like, oh, we kind of like the Davis trade back in the day. Like, wait a second, what trade? The trade to the Lakers you're talking about? Like, wait, was there a trade? Did the Pelicans trade up to get that number 1 pick back in the day? You're talking about that one, right? It's like, oh, wait a second. What are we talking about? We're talking about the Davis Dodgers trade. And obviously in the moment, the timelines that the players were on at the time, with all due respect to Davis. And make no mistake, we tried to give him the due respect, but with all due respect, the timelines that the players were on were a little undeniable there. I guess if I guess, obviously Davis has had his troubles with injuries as well, but if of course, I guess in some ways you could say that, I guess the true, even the more, if there's anybody else there that would defend the trade more than us, and we're not even really defending the trade, it is what it is, but, I guess maybe the point at the end of the day would be just, looking at the logic of what happened when the trade went down. But maybe if you were, trying to defend the trade, of course you would in the moment have pointed to what the Mavs were pointing to toward the health thing, or not even the health thing, but just the conditioning factor of it. And then, immediately it wouldn't have mattered in some, obviously conditioning matters, but you would have immediately disproved the impact of those things because, he had just been in the finals as well too. So it's like, okay, there is championship level basketball here. Is there more basketball to be unlocked to this play? Absolutely. But it's like, okay, the level of play that he is currently playing at as well too is championship level basketball. So again, the trade is, I guess like we're saying, indefensible, but I guess what we're really saying is I'm glad that somebody else made the trade. Hey, talking like we're over here sitting running another team. But, when you say you can see the logic of like, how do you reason about, like you're saying, trading a franchise player when he's about to enter his prime for a guy who has an injury history, maybe on the other side of his brain, how do you reason that stuff out? And it is, of course, in some ways unreasonable. But, as NBA fans, we do have unreasonable things that we think about basketball. And I would say that, me personally, again, is it unreasonable to sit here and like Anthony Davis as a player? No, obviously not. He's one of the great forwards in the history of the NBA. But would I, and again, are we a rare person? Maybe we're not a rare person, but are we just, a rare person willing to admit it? Would I sit here and say that would I like Anthony Davis? Well, just the bias, how would you rank players? I guess sometimes there's really even no rhyme or reason to why you gravitate toward one player and the way they play over this player, yada, yada, yada. Like we've said before, I don't know if it's us watching Tim Duncan growing up or whatever, but, we've always, I guess in some ways we like every, player on the basketball court if they're just playing good basketball. But the power forward spot is definitely a spot where, if guys are dominant there from a two-way aspect, it is, something that we really appreciate. A guy like Davis who, and make no mistake, not a center. So we can definitely label him a power forward. He does not want to be labeled a center. Maybe he knows the legacy stuff of the center spots. I mean, I don't know if he's catching our guy Tim Duncan anytime soon. It is what it is. Unless he revitalizes Washington. If he brings is one title with Davis and Trae Young title in Washington, does that equal 5 titles in San Antonio? I don't know. But, if you're just like saying, how would you rank players that or liking in basketball, players that you would root for, players that you would want on your team. We were doing time machine exercises, of course, with the 21st century, and maybe we need to continue that time machine Tuesday bit we were talking about as well too. But we were just like in some ways framing those teams as well, in some ways where it's like, what are the players that we just want to have as well too. Obviously there is sort of a check mark that you have to get to greatness. The guys were, nobody was not an MVP candidate or some point, or again, considered a great player. I mean, our example of our quarterback, unfortunately, when we sim the 21st century game, our quarterback on our team, Mike Vick, versus, the other all-time team, Tom Brady, unfortunately, the sim gave it to Tom Brady, is what it is. But, obviously, Vic can qualify for that kind of team. He was an MVP level guy when he was playing. He was Pro Bowl. Like, he hit all the checkpoints in terms of the talent that you needed on the field. But maybe, compiling the amount of seasons, the careers, maybe, again, you'd rank it a certain type of way. And not to say that I guess we've watched every Nico Harrison interview about, the way that he would rank players in the NBA, but it's very clear that he just, he loved Anthony Davis. It is what it is. And, again, like we're saying, in fairness to Nico Harrison, I can relate to that because I also love Anthony Davis as a player. And if you have the opportunity to trade for Anthony Davis, you almost, there's 9.9 times out of 10, you have to do the trade. And you're almost always a better basketball team when you do the trade. Do we need to pull the Lakers trade back up? I mean, we could definitely go back and revisit a lot of those pieces for sure. But regardless of what they gave up in the trade, I'm just trying to remember the players off the dome. Just trying to freestyle the names of the players from the trade. But of course, they gave up Lonzo, Ingram, Randall, and Josh Hart, all in that trade, and picks that ended up, getting traded into DeAndre Hunter. I think was Dyson Daniels part of that trade. And then, when he got traded again, it's like, and then he starts taking off in Atlanta. It's like, oh, well, now Dyson Daniels, would the Lakers have won 3 titles if they had Dyson Daniels? It's like, okay, they did definitely give up a lot for Davis, for sure. But regardless, they were the LeBron and Davis duo was undeniable outside of, again, some health stuff that happened there. But it ultimately yielded them a title. And, looking back at the pieces, like we've said before, as much as it is, and it's still, again, obviously a very, very stacked supporting cast in some ways around LeBron, if that's what you have, I think you're better off having Davis and LeBron and just having 2 of the 10 best guys in the league at that time. And like we're saying, ultimately, they did end up winning a ring. Circumstances, weird nonetheless. It, favors, you could just go around in circles with that argument. It's an impressive title nonetheless. Like we're saying, are the circumstances different? Sure. But at the end of the day, you're winning a title is great. So that trade, again, like as crazy as that trade is, it's totally worth it. Like Davis, 9.9 times out of 10. It's absolutely worth the trade. Just unfortunately, again, it's sort of the greater basketball principles at play that actually in the 0.1 scenarios outweighs the unbiased you could have for a great player like Anthony Davis, where it's like, well, yes, but Luka Doncic is like we're saying, about to potentially enter the prime of his powers. And there is, fair, unfair or not, like a real sort of, thing you have to look at with a guy like Davis and sort of the durability there for, being able to get yourself in certain seeding positions to be able to, and I know they just made it as an 8 seed as well too with Doncic and as the finals, as part, off that season, like we're saying. So, maybe you could even talk yourself into just like, well, if Davis doesn't even play in the regular season, but then sustain, like, because like we're saying, he even had a little banged up in the finals as well too. Like we're saying, they had LeBron and Davis. The duo of it was beneficial, but the team was still better off because they had Davis. And, unfortunately, like, obviously if the trade and you're able to get Davis and pair him with Luka Doncic, then he's a hero and it's a great trade. It is what it is. And, he's looking at the, you go back at the time and you're looking at the defense, of course, that Anthony Davis statistically provides throughout the course of his career, being like, is the 2-way impact there better than just having, this all-time generational offensive player? Can you have and in some ways, of course, Davis himself too, at the peak of his powers, is an all-time generational offensive player. But is the way that Luka sort of conducts it in a heliocentric fashion and can dominate so much of the possessions? Is that a better thing, of course, than a guy that is quote unquote a great offensive player in the league, but then a great defensive player as well too, and can anchor the court that way? But I really do, and again, not to be critical toward Doncic, because again, regardless of what my sort of biased player rankings, players that you want to watch on League Pass, players that you want to, if I had to buy jerseys, again, however you want to rank it, like regardless of however you're looking at the list, just because I might not have Doncic exactly where his player ranking in the league should be, just in terms of his talent, again, doesn't mean I'm not willing to recognize his talent. But again, I'll we, like I said, pride ourselves in being honest here in the Remington Pod. I'll be honest, in 2K, I'm telling you guys right now, in 2K, I'm trading Davis for Doncic. I see the argument in terms of the two-way thing, and I do like a little, again, watching the Spurs, do we like a little teamwork in there? Again, I obviously Doncic, great passer for sure. So I guess the playmaking, like I guess you can't say, again, there's a lack of passing or, again, flashy passes, but sort of the beautiful game, obviously the art of the beautiful game. Do we like that? Can you play the beautiful game with Anthony Davis? I actually think you can, for sure. And obviously, in some ways you definitely could do it with Doncic as well too. But I definitely, and again, they're close in the player rankings at that time. At that time when they were traded, Doncic, again, great player. Davis is still, again, at that time, like literally at that moment, maybe still one of the 12 best players in the league. But again, the timeline of when that trade happened, unfortunately, again, with all due, I feel like we've given Davis a lot of respect here. That might have been the last moment that he was a top 12 player in the league. And, he still might be a top 20 player in the league at this point. And honestly, now for Washington, and again, obviously the value of, obviously they didn't give up Luka Doncic. They didn't even give up Alex Sarr. So, it's obviously a little bit different now in terms of the expectations of him going to that team. But, for, again, him in terms of what we're saying, the moment that the trade happened, it is literally the last moment in the careers of those guys, unfortunately, that you can make that trade. And he just wasn't, able to get the actual, career, the years that he needed from Davis. It is what it is. Like we're saying, because of where Doncic is at on the timeline, and now, obviously we're speaking in Marvel terms here, Chad. Hey, Doomsday. It's in 2026. I guess Doomsday. We're locked in. We're here for both. We're supporting cinema. We're not just Marvel fans over here. We can see the bigger picture. It is what it is. Shout out to the show. But of course, like we're saying, two great players, two players that I guess in some ways there is a little bit of an equal ability to prove that you can build a title team around them. You may say that, Doncic was a little bit more responsible for that Mavs team that went to the finals, but regardless, Davis's team did end up winning the finals. So, Luka could probably be the number 2 on a team that ends up winning. That's undoubted. But I still think there is a world where, Davis could have been a number 1 guy on a title team. And, I guess throughout NBA history, that is probably still, a bigger list, obviously, than the guys that did. We should say in addition to the list of the guys that ended up winning, because, there is that list of guys that, and maybe the list of guys is one, Charles Barkley. Do we have to go pull up like an all-time ranking, the NBA 75 and see what's going on there? And, I even hate to say the name, just tossing it out in an argument like that as well too, because you're like, that's a real career that unfortunately the playoffs just didn't take the right turns there. A lot of the times with that stuff, it is luck as well too. And that is a career where you wonder, obviously he was able to, get traded and move around and stuff, but you wonder if the speeds of the trades at which it happened, with Harden getting traded to Cleveland now, and, obviously some of the graphics of like that Oklahoma City original Big Three and just the amount of teams that they've been on it at this point. It's like, those guys have no regard for the basketball reference, the jersey count on their basketball reference page. It just doesn't matter. Again, back in the day, it's like 1 jersey, 2 jerseys, and then there may be like the guys with like 12 jerseys would be like, again, with all due respect, they'd be like role players. They'd be guys that were bouncing around the league, like actually trying to, find a spot in the league, or, maybe get, good assets that can straight around. For a modern example of a guy that I can think of, it's like, again, before like the player empowerment era, and maybe specifically this OKC Big Three, like a modern example would have been like a guy like Jay Crowder, I think, is, kind of gets tossed into a lot of trades, but you're still like, okay, like you kind of want him when when you trade for him, because he can play. He can play. He's definitely a guy that can, give you good rotation minutes and is providing a very, very valuable skill set in the league as well too. And again, the league was definitely moving into a 3D spot as well too, but maybe even just the fact that it's like, okay, this is what the league is now. Again, obviously, like the Jay Crowder types is just in some ways what they, obviously I think we look at basketball now and just say it's a bunch of Jay Crowders, running around playing out there. I think that's what the analysts are saying these days on ESPN. Who reminds us of Jay Crowder the most? And he might still be on a team, honestly. Again, shout out to him. But again, now it's like the star players. It's like Paul George is gonna have like 14 jerseys on his basketball, unless he gets to the podcast game a little bit sooner than we think. But and the Philly, I guess when he gets back from Philly, I guess the season's going okay this year as well too. I guess maybe he gets stuck there because nobody trades for him. But again, these with the mobility there, maybe Barkley would have been able to move around more. I guess maybe is what we're able to say. Just at some point he just gets traded to the Bulls. Like, it just doesn't matter. Just go join. Like, just the best players actually should. That's where we're at this point. It's like the best players just should team up and they should play together. And maybe it's because the league is so talented. Again, times change. For the NBA anyways, and the league maybe gets more talented, and maybe you're actually able to afford that as well too, because now we're just saying maybe even more, just there's like a fandom status to what we're saying when we're saying the best players pair up. Because honestly in my mind, when I say the best players team up and they just play on the same team, I still, it is what it is. I still think of LeBron, Steph, and Durant, so I guess I don't know if that's what we're saying, that they should be on a team. But I guess, again, not every time, Anthony Davis or Luka Doncic or one of these guys, there's like something that happens in their events, like tie it to the trade, but it is what it is. It's the most, I guess we can't necessarily say at this point that it's the most impactful trade in NBA history, but it's the most aggressive trade. It's the biggest swing trade in NBA history. And now, like we're saying, I guess there is that 10-year down the road factor where it's like, well, I guess if the Lakers never do win a title with Luka, is the trade, not worth it? And the Mavs do have Cooper Flag now, but it's like, the Mavs, I guess, again, with all due respect to the, PETA and the pet lovers out there, the Mavs, it still does feel like there is like a little like timid franchise, like PTSD with that, like, they're like a shelter pet. And it's like, okay, like obviously they're, Cooper Flag, I guess, obviously there's like a good franchise player there for them to root for now. And clearly, again, not even just a good franchise player, like clearly a guy that you could potentially build a title winning team around. Like, hey, we were watching him almost cook the Spurs the other night. And it's like, Wemby's literally just this, 7'5", with all due respect, they got a freak of it. I guess the freak is Giannis, but the 7'5" alien, and just the, like, not only does he have the skill set of just like, the potential skill set of the perfect NBA player, but it's like also these physical attributes just make it, pause, like an undeniable sort of just impact in general. And it's like Cooper Flag just out there just cooking, dropping almost. It's like, what's happening? Is Cooper Flag just making shots? Con Canupo the other night's putting up 35 plus on the Spurs. So, again, the league, it's not always just the 7'5" guy that is going to matter for winning the title. Hey, I'm sure you could take that a lot of directions. It is what it is. But I guess, what we're saying, I guess going back to the Davis part of the trade is, I guess we're not glad in some ways that Nico Harrison made the mistake. Because I guess as a Spurs fan that, of course there is that rivalry with the Mavs. I don't know if the Mavs there is that title timeline being pushed back a little bit, but it's almost like now their title timeline is just reset with San Antonio. Like if their timeline if they had Doncic now, in terms of the rivalry aspect of that, the Doncic title seasons would be these upcoming years. And now the Spurs, of course, there is that sneaky, like the time is now aspect. You have the guys on the rookie contracts, the amount of talent that you can sort of stackpile on a team like this. And, of course we'll see contracts, we haven't even really seen the toll that, I guess, we'll never see the toll that it takes at OKC because they just have picks for the next 15 years. They'll just be able to replenish. They have draft picks, but also they have Sam Presti, so they're just going to have good players as well, too, with those draft picks. And, Mark Daigneault seems to be, stable coach there as well. But for the, Mavs, of course, there would be that little bit more instant factor to compile a winning team with, as there always had been around Luka Doncic at the time. But still, I don't know if, again, we're bummed out that he's not there anymore. It is what it is. But yeah, unfortunately, Nico Harrison had to be the one to do it. He had to be the one to make the trade and accidentally, go with his heart at that moment. That's all it was, Chad. That's all it was at the end of the day. He just went with his NBA heart. He went against his NBA logic. He's like, and maybe he just really did just bet on I think he was making, honestly, a 10-year bet. He was probably thinking he could probably get a little bit more instant impact with Anthony Davis. I don't know if he was thinking that they're going to, Davis is going to get hurt for a season. They're going to win the lottery, and then we're going to storm out the next year and just be the Western Conference favorites. I don't know if that was all, a part of his plan. But he was probably thinking, okay, we bring in Davis, this season we're going to be like a 35-win team. So we can be that. And then the fans will be, obviously he was thinking maybe more the fans were just, what are just the super rational people what are we talking about in Star Trek? There we go. I think we got there. Does that make it a little bit clearer? I don't know if it does, but of course, it's not Spock is a name, right? Spock is not a species. It's not like there's a, again, I'm not even gonna say, I feel like if we make that plural, we're gonna start going down, dangerous territory. It is what it is. But, I feel like whatever, because again, he's supposed to be the guy that's just like, he's just like all reason. No emotion from him, whatever. But I think Nico Harrison was, of course, thinking that those guys, the Mavs fans would be just a little bit more basketball robotic about the trade and not necessarily, of course, just have that irrational attachment that not irrational, but just that, that attachment that they did to Luka as a franchise guy. And, again, even with Cooper Flagg, like it doesn't feel like the Mavs, there is like that buzz. And, again, it's his first season. We're not even to the All-Star break in his first season yet. And there's still, like, are we bored of the Spurs already and their emergence that we have to start talking now about, again, the Mavs? Like, I guess we can save the Mavs for when they actually become good. It is what it is. But, again, it's like, okay, you can clearly, he's clearly to the point where he can just get 30 now in a game. And obviously without Davis, he's also taken, I think he had 27 shots in the 32 points that he had the other night against San Antonio. But it's like, okay, as a rookie, there is clearly an offensive thing that is starting to happen. And he's just, a very great sort of two-way evolution potential in general. They're just, again, like we're saying, a well-rounded player. And this is a very fun time in the background TV part of the night as well too. Shout out to the opening ceremony for the Olympics. Watching that on mute is hypnotizing. Also, we don't know what's going on as well too. We're missing the storyline for I guess I was going to call it a play. I don't want to sound like, hey, what's this play that what's this skit that the Olympics is having over here? But I feel like it's definitely more theater, right, than it is, again, in terms of it's not, I guess it is cinema because it is on TV as well, too. Hey, what is it? If you broadcast a theater, is it cinema? Chat, I didn't mean to just, break the internet. Is that the new, is a hot dog a sandwich for 2026? If you film theater, is it cinema? I know that the theater nerds are gonna they're gonna be worried about that. It is what it is. We're not trying to erase the genre, but also, Celtics halftime at the same time. Shout out! It's just a very thematic, very entertaining sort of. Again, a lot of times we have basketball on in the background, so a different pivot from I guess what we're used to. Shout out. But, Davis, what are we saying? That we would trade Davis for Luka Doncic? Are we saying that? I guess we're not fully admitting it, Chet. I'm saying we're glad we weren't running the Mavs when the trade was proposed. I honestly don't know what again, I'd have to go back and see, what the Lakers all had at the time. Of course, what did the Mavs roster look like? What were the league rules, of course, as well, too? Because that was right before, I think, This was that right before the second CBA kicked in, or was that after? I can see again. I have to go back and we remember the timeline for now where that stuff overlaps there. But I'm assuming, I would again Davis for Doncic straight up is definitely not enough. It is what it is. I guess, am I saying, is there a world where it's it's multiple things? I don't know. Pause. Is it, is it Davis and picks and all kinds? Is it Davis and Reeves? I don't think Pelinka would have done that, but I think you get Davis and a couple of picks. It's interesting. It's really interesting. And again, the like I think that reaction to the fandom part of it would have been the same nonetheless, if you get 7 first-round picks from somebody back. The fact that it's like, wait a second, why are we trading this guy? I get the season's not going great, but it's like, are we ready to pivot this? But, should we, try to trade PJ Washington first? Like, hey, is there a move that we can make before we just send Doncic packing? It is what it is. But, like we're saying, from the 2K aspect, and I don't know if, he was thinking, how do we just undo this down the road? Can we just not necessarily just take Luka back, but I'll just draft a couple guys. Hey, I drafted Luka, or he didn't even draft Luka. I don't even know if he did, but because obviously, Cuban kind of face of the team at that point as well, still in ownership. But he's probably just thinking, I'll just rebuild the team around Davis. It'll be fine. Even if we're bad for a year. But yeah, that is I definitely would make, that's the type of trade I would make. That I said in 2K, like fantasy basketball, or maybe even more a little, relatable fantasy football. I would definitely make an equivalent trade like that in fantasy football. Older, and that's different, if you're in the the redraft leagues as well too. Of course there is that 1 year commitment that you just have to your team. So there isn't okay, I sacrificed the next decade of fandom here for this gamble. But I would definitely, be like, okay, this guy's about to take a major leap in the offense. Like, he just had his first good week and somebody got hurt. And it's like, okay, and it doesn't look like Mbuka's going to slow down at all. Like, maybe you probably shouldn't trade. Maybe selling highs. Because some guys, of course, I don't feel like we have to, if you're locked in, we don't have to explain fantasy football to you. But there gets to that value where it's like, well, I'm not going to trade him to get, if it takes 3 guys in my lineup to replace this one guy, then maybe I should just have the one guy. So there is, obviously you get to that, untradeable value. But for making just a move where it's like, I would just what, AJ Brown for Mbuka, or AJ Brown for JSN, I might have actually, that honestly might be the most realistic version, especially this year. Especially with the way that AJ Brown's stats played out this year. We go back and we don't have to go back and remind ourselves. It is what it is. I just found, speaking of AJ Brown, I was just watching this. I just stumbled on for the first time. Ayo, what a discovery. Diamond's Gym on YouTube. Shout out. That's going to be definitely, put that in the YouTube Wrapped for top 5 for 2026. There's going to be a lot of time spent over at that channel. It is what it is. But we got locked in with the AJ Brown video of him training with that team, with those guys in that gym. So, I guess was that we have to go back and check the timestamp on that. Was that a year ago, or was that a month ago? Was that after the season, before? Did he train too hard in that video? Pause. Where his shoulders just too worn out for 16, just a whole season. Just AJ Brown's just sore trying to recover from this workout. Pause. But or was it after the season? He's like, okay, I'm assuming he had 1,000 yards, right? 17 games. Hey, you gotta hit 1,000 yards. But he's 850 yards, not enough. You gotta get back in the gym. Gotta get into Diamond's Gym. Gotta, I guess. Delt raises is of course what's going to help him catch more, not the fact that they can't find an offensive coordinator, but the delt raises will definitely help. But also, shout out to the work is, what's important. I guess the work in receiving as well too. But hey, we know AJ Brown is one of the top receivers in the league. And hey, I hate to pivot again as well too, but speaking of receivers, this also reminded me about something that I saw about the Pro Bowl. This was actually the only thing I think I saw about the Pro Bowl. I did see Shador. Actually, we saw a Shador highlight. I guess our algorithm is locked in. It knew we wanted to see Shador. But I saw Shador throw a touchdown to Garrett Bowles at one point. Of course, 7-man, the center does become a receiver. So, people were just forgetting, I guess, to guard the lineman down there in the red zone. A little toss to Garrett Bowles, easy enough. But I also saw the receiving challenge that they did where they had, and that actually seemed pretty cool. Of course, they had the guys where, or they've had the events in the past where it was the drones where you've had to catch the football from the football falling from heights, I guess is the way to phrase it. But then there was sort of an obstacle course version as well too that they've attempted. I'm trying to think of, did they combine those together and that's like one, best receiver event, or were both of those individually each year, different versions of the best receiver event? I don't remember there, but this year it seemed like there was different actual, and I guess again, I just saw the clips. I didn't see like the rules, but I saw the clips of them trying to catch it with the big gloves on. So it's like, okay, that, again, just the innovation with the, okay, let's put the receivers, through these different tests of how do they, catch these footballs in these different scenarios is pretty fun. But then they maybe had one where they like greased up the gloves as well too, because I kind of saw it like slipping out. Hey, pause. Whoa, a bunch of times. But, and again with the gloves on, you would assume that you don't even have to grip the football with some of the gloves. You just stick your hand out and it just, Spider-Man's the football to the catch. It is what it is. OBJ best catch conspiracy theory. Why it would not be the greatest catch of all time, but I guess they also just used the like paste. They just like threw glue on their hands back in the day. Pause. And we're just like, okay, now we're just I guess we'll catch it. The football, we're gonna have to peel the football off. Pause. We're talking about actual glue. It's like still a pause, but either way. But Jamar Chase seemed like he had the easiest time in those drills trying to manage the different scenarios in which, of course, again, he had to make the catches. And I did see the three guys that I remember doing the drills. There was Stingley. They had Stingley as well too. So corner, obviously not in that conversation. I guess if he had competed, that would have been impressive. But I guess, and I think the clip was a Jamar Chase fan page, so maybe it didn't have the catches from the other guys in there. But it had Jefferson, it had Stingley, then Jefferson and Bowers. So I guess the other two best receivers in the league, of course, JSN, at least he contended for this past season. JSN is playing in the Super Bowl this week, and I guess Puka not playing in the Super Bowl, but conference championship, not quite making it out to the Pro Bowl after that. But besides those two guys, you could definitely argue Chase and Jefferson would, of course, be the next two guys in the conversation that you would mention at this point as well too, and the fame of those guys as that number one receiver in the league conversation. And then Bowers is arguably the best tight end in the league besides Tyler Warren at this point as well too. Shout out Tyler Warren. And Stingley, I guess, could be the best corner in the league for sure as well. Do we say besides Sauce Gardner, same draft class? Do we trade for the wrong guy from the draft class? Hey, it is what it is. But, he'll be back. 2020, why is nobody talking about the Sauce Gardner bounce back season? Is he not capable of just proving everybody wrong? I guess new outlook in 2026. Sauce Gardner, we believe here that you can, of course, get Sauce Gardner in Diamond's Gym. That's what we want. Sauce Gardner, a Diamond's Gym video. I guess maybe, what was it, an Achilles or something, knee, calf, something? Maybe it's not quite, maybe it's not ready yet. Maybe it's a little too, but I'm sure they could tailor the training. They would understand, right? And if an upper body day, it's an upper body day. It's chest day. Hey, I guess the Achilles, like you're planting on the press. I don't know, it's really engaging the whole body. Pause. But maybe there is a guy at our gym that does. He'll do the bench press with the feet up, where he goes like kind of almost in like the sit up crunch position, and he does pretty good weight doing that. There is, of course, I feel like there's one guy that'll be there every now and then that maybe he'll throw on a couple plates and do that. But I feel like the one that I'm thinking of maybe he'll, of course, 135. But I'll give him respect. He might be doing 2 plates with the feet up bench press ordeal. So I don't know if, again, get in there and do that. They were, like we're saying, started off with the shoulder raise machine in the AJ Brown workout, the lateral raise machine. So, I mean, that one, if it's a lower body injury, that one's easy. Just, you could definitely get some momentum, I'm sure, from that one that maybe could tweak something. I don't know. But, that one's going to be pretty upper body focused, going to be pretty much just engaging those, I think, those delts there. Obviously, that's the goal. So I don't plan. I'm pretty sure you could, you could have a successful workout in Diamond's Gym, even if you're recovering from an injury. It is what it is. You do Diamond's Gym, and then like Kevin Hart's, you do like the cold as balls show afterwards, and you've got a workout and a recovery. You're good to go at that point. But what do we talk about? Oh, Jamar Chase. handling that event. Pause. Just like I did, handling the footballs like he handled the event. Are we saying that right? Hey, yo, we need to clean. We need to chat GPT. How would Mike Greenberg say that? Hey, yo, but he was maybe, and not to say that, again, has he fallen off as the best receiver in the league, but the team hasn't necessarily been in the playoffs the last couple of years, and now JSN's in the Super Bowl. The Rams have been, again, a more, like the Rams have kind of, I guess they haven't been the Bengals offense because they don't have the number 2 the way that the Bengals do. With respect to Adams, Adams is really great. Obviously, you're not, worse off as an offense. Well, you'd probably trade Adams for Higgins right now, straight up, if the Bengals called. It is what it is. If you can salary caps match, if it's just like, hey, can we just swap this and pause? Like, you're definitely gonna probably make that trade. Is that a timeline trade as well too? But I don't know, for one game, you probably just run Adams out there for this one. Just say we're throwing to Puka every time anyways. It doesn't matter, and then we'll just run at Kyron as well. Run with the running backs, but. Again, that offense has actually been playoff successful. It's been a contending team. So there's been a little bit more prestige with, I think, Puka's last 2 seasons, where Jamar Chase hasn't necessarily had that. Again, they've just been stats. Hey, yo, that's all it's been. It's just been great stats and just been him having to carry offenses at time where it's like, who's the backup before Flacco? Jake Browning? And, Jamar Chase can always get like 10 targets with any kind of quarterback that's playing there. And that's maybe just looking at it as well, too, a little bit of a difference between him and Jefferson. If we're just kind of, narrowing it down between those 2 guys, I don't know. But the Vikings themselves, of course, and maybe now, I don't know, the next year or 2, there's definitely been some quarterback, in and out, and there's maybe, going to be that, like we're saying, who knows? Obviously, hopefully McCarthy is able to lock down the starter minutes there. But his stats do seem to take a turn a little bit the other way when the quarterback play is not fully locked in, and maybe he'll be on that A.J. Brown side of things a little bit as well, too, where I'm not saying that, Jamar Chase is never, like, receiver drama, whatever. But I can't necessarily, like, think of that being a thing. And it's difficult as well, too, when I'm just like, like, can I think of Justin Jefferson as, like, being, and again, respectfully, I'm just talking about, the way I'm, potentially misperceiving this. But, again, if I'm misperceiving Jefferson as like, what I'm saying is it's difficult for me to say I'm perceiving Jefferson as like a more dramatic receiver when I don't necessarily have specific examples of him being dramatic. I'm just saying that for me, if I'm ranking dramatic receivers, I would rank Jefferson more dramatic. I don't know. But also, Jamar Chase is making better catches in that Pro Bowl challenge. So I kind of won me over, because I will admit, I have had Jefferson in fantasy more times than Jamar Chase. I probably would have made the case for Jefferson over Jamar Chase as the best receiver in the league. See, this is what I'm saying. The people that are running these NBA teams and these NFL teams, they're humans too. And I'm sure Nico Harrison had Anthony Davis on his fantasy team, like when Anthony Davis was in New Orleans, like one of those. He probably drafted him like, 7 spots too high when he was a rookie. He's like, I'm telling you, rookie Davis is worth every pick. And then, rookie, I guess I don't know what Davis's rookie numbers were that year, but I think he won rookie of the year. Whatever it was, he just destroyed. I guess we didn't say took him 7th in the first round, but whatever 7 spots too high was when he entered the league as a rookie. But for fantasy basketball that year. But, he's like, okay, he wins me my fantasy basketball championship. If I ever run a basketball team, like, I have to trade for this guy. And I guess to bring back our A.J. Brown example, I guess, are we connecting the dots, Chet? Hey, yo, to bring back the A.J. Brown example, like, it's not a move I would have done in fantasy. I'm telling you right now, I would, if I'm the Colts, I'm trading for A.J. Brown. I'm not, honestly, and I guess, again, I can't go back and necessarily say, like, what am I thinking from a sports standpoint post the Doncic trade? But post the Doncic trade, I don't know if I could trade Alec Pierce for, we're just throwing names out there. It is what it is. But, I don't know if I would trade a guy like Alec Pierce for A.J. Brown. Maybe you would still have to and just take the gamble on it. Maybe that's a different one. You have to double check the A.J. Brown timeline versus the Anthony Davis timeline at this point in their careers. But I guess maybe, again, like we're saying, what did we say, JSN earlier for the example? Maybe Mbuka. Would Mbuka be the right example? See, Bucks fans are like, which rosters, which fan base is like, no, don't mention our guy. Like, I guess it would. I was gonna say Marvin Harrison Jr., but I feel like it's gonna have to be a guy that maybe he's put up some stats as well too. With all due respect to Marvin Harrison Jr., so JSN, like Doncic, does have his team in the finals. Hopefully or I guess hopefully unlike Doncic, he doesn't. What are we saying, Chelsea? We're jinxing it. It can't. It's gonna happen. I know it's gonna happen. It's such a bummer. It is what it is. Seattle 4.5-point favorites, but hopefully the result is not he loses to the Boston team. So hopefully that's not the other similarity between JSN and Doncic in this scenario. I guess the Mavs and Seahawks do kind of share a color scheme in a way. You know, the Mavs alternates can get into that lime green scenario. Oh, did Wiggins just cross up Jaylen Brown? Hey, yo, Jaylen Brown touched earth a little bit, but it was kind of Wiggins on a step back, little pullback, so he didn't really take a shot. He just kind of passed it out to the top of the key. Hey, yo. So I don't know if he would have crossed over and attacked there. I don't know. Get Andrew Wiggins at Diamond's Gym. Can we get Unk watching basketball highlights? Rico Hines Rico Hines workout for the on the court. Diamond Gym for the pump pause. Whoa, hey yo, for the lift. I don't know what Diamond Gym's into there, but for the lift, and then you go to the coldest balls for the rehab, for the recovery afterwards. So there we go. There's the last piece. I can maybe throw Lethal Shooter into there as well too. Shout out to the Instagram page there. I guess maybe is Lethal Shooter on YouTube? I don't know if he is or not. But what are we saying? Yeah, ayo. And I guess again, just shout out to AJ Brown. I guess are we comparing him to Anthony Davis right now? I guess we have been quite a bit. It is what it is. But yeah, again, it's a lesson learned. It's a lesson learned. It's think of the fans. Think of the smart sports move that needs to be made. Think of the rational, football, basketball, baseball move, whatever that needs to be made in the moment, and just do that one instead of the irrational one. And like we're saying, pause, go with your gut in the moment. But yeah, there's so many, I mean, maybe that's an episode. Maybe that's a bit. Maybe we could cook up like the craziest trades that we would do. But it's like, this toes right on the line. Like, maybe there is a time, like, what is the time where you would have done this trade? Because again, like, what is the time where you would have done the Luka for Davis trade? Again, with as much as Davis would have, again, like we're saying, there is that case that Luka is younger than Davis. So that part's never going to change. So even if we make Davis, again, younger, like in the basketball player, like he's never, still the separation for the careers there. Again, obviously we can do the math. It's still going to be the same, but there does get to be that point where it's like, okay, how many years of Davis, basketball careers versus how many years of Doncic's realistic, basketball careers, or, again, how many years can you think? Because while he may play 20 years, I don't know if you can necessarily, and in some ways you can, but especially now, I don't know if you can necessarily like trade or draft a guy thinking that he's going to, like we said with Wemby, I don't know if we can necessarily sit here and say that he's going to be in San Antonio for the next 20 years. It'd be nice if he was there for the next 8 to 12. Again, how long was Giannis in Milwaukee? Is that the timeline? How many seasons and a half if we're including this one? But for like we're saying, for just making that irrational trade. Hey, yo, like, I don't think that, I guess we're the one person that is, kind of sympathetic toward Nico Harrison at the end of the day with the situation. And, hopefully Davis is able to, I guess, I don't even know where the career turn is at here in Washington at this point. These are just, I don't want to say the forgotten years of Davis, because I feel like there's going to be moments where, there's going to be good basketball. Hey, him and Trae Young, they might be able to run some fun pick and rolls. Davis and you're telling me Anthony Davis and Alex Sarr and Bub Carrington are all on the same team? Like, again, this might be, like, the Wizards might be listening to the pod. Hey, yo, they're like, okay, so wait, you guys said Bub Carrington, you said Alex Sarr. I was like, hey, yo, I'm sorry, Wizards fans, we're naming all the wrong players. It is what it is. But, hey, yo, we continue to just like the players that the Wizards trade for. But, yeah, like we were saying, there is that, if you're the Mavs and you could get 7 years of Anthony Davis and you were trading for him back at that time when it was because I guess Doncic was drafted in 2018. So, and then Hunter, and it was DeAndre Hunter was drafted the next year. Obviously, that's how everybody remembers it. But he was the next pick, I think, that was involved in that trade that was drafted in, I think, 2019 draft. But yeah, if you would have traded like a second-year Doncic for Dave, again, that would have been aggressive. Like, there is always going to be that case of like, Doncic, he's only in his second year. Like, how do we give up on that now? And, again, as a rookie, he was, Cooper Flag. Cooper Flag's stats might even be better than Luka Doncic as a rookie by the time we get to the end of the season. And again, Mavs fans are still going to be thinking about Luka Doncic. It is what it is. But again, by the time we got to his second year, like, we knew that it was confirmed that Luka was going to be a special offensive player if he continued down the and was already a special offensive player in a sense if he was continuing down the path that he was on. But, Davis, again, at that point, and, him as the sole guy, like we're saying, I'm not saying that trade would have worked out better for the franchise. I'm just saying that trade at that time for those players would have made a little bit more sense. And I'm sure there is trades in NBA history, more trades in NBA history, that are like that. I'm sure in some sense there are, more random versions of it as well, too, where it's like, now you see, like, guys, like, of course, with all due respect, like Kevin Love, who's been in the NBA for, of course, and now, at this point, Kevin Love, again, regardless of what the peak years is like, these are the, Kevin Love, enjoy your, veteran years. These are good years to have as an NBA player. If just because you hit this stage where you bounce around to a couple teams, be a veteran guy in a locker room, like that's not a bad thing. What's that mean? You earned your keep as a good guy in the league and played like again, it's all great stuff. But I'm just saying, like, if we're looking at the trades, okay, I'm not necessarily making the case that it's like, okay, well, at one time, Kevin Love would have been the best player in this trade. Because, again, you're not trading for Kevin Love in that scenario. Again, with all due respect, there's, we need a contract. We need to manage salaries here. There's things like that take place. And in those trades, sometimes, you get the random piece that works out. I guess in this Davis trade, because all the pieces now that they got for Davis, of course, are going to be associated for Doncic. It's going to be like, and I don't even think they got 2 firsts, and then I think a couple contracts. Did they even get Keshawn George back? Hopefully they got Keshawn George, because if they did, is it a good trade? Is it even a better trade now? I don't know, but I mean, it is a better trade, obviously, if they got a talented player back in the deal. But him and Cooper Flag, and again, a couple, I don't know, Kyrie, Jaden Hardy. Do they still have Jaden Hardy? Like, do you see the team forming? I guess not. If we're struggling to recall who's on the team, but at least Cooper Flag and Keshawn George is, getting we're getting somewhere now at this point. But just to, I guess, pull up the trade here in the background. Let me see officially what the pieces were at this point. And again, for the Wizards, I guess once we kind of blankly saw that it wasn't, again, like we were saying, Carrington or Sarr or something, or that sort of, sacrifice the future amount of first round picks. Like the trade maybe didn't necessarily register as well too, because it was like, okay, reasonable trade. Go back about your business. It's all good. But the trade isn't actually listed as with Doncic. Yeah, just the last trade here is still the Doncic trade on the Basketball Reference. It is what it is. So let me see if I can. Oh, I'm sure they have it elsewhere. They have to, right? I would assume that somebody has posted about it, but to actually see what the contracts were that they made work. 8-player trade, 5 draft picks. Okay, so they're getting some seconds back in there as well. Is that 2 firsts and 3 seconds? Ooh, 3 seconds. Okay, Draymond and Jokic were both seconds. So obviously the Wizards can draft them both. Oh, AJ Johnson. That's right. AJ Johnson. I honestly, again, I don't know why we're just like randomly just, Mavs homers on some of these trades, but this isn't even necessarily the pro Davis side of it, but maybe the pro, are they getting good pieces back? I guess I was going to say I would rather have AJ Johnson than Keshawn George. I guess the hot take would be AJ Johnson would actually be a great piece to get back for Luka Doncic in a trade, but I don't think we can necessarily go that far with it, but he is talented. Oh, and Jaden Hardy? Whoa, Chet, the Wizards got Jaden Hardy and Davis. Whoa, they fleeced them. Hey, yo, it is what it is. Can we get a actual they get version of the trade? I guess we can't read. We only have to post. We just want to see posts and graphics about stuff. It is what it is. The Wizards envision a front court of Anthony Davis, Alex Sarr, and Bilal Coulibaly. Chad, that's great. That's a very specific vision, and they were able to pull it off. Pause. They drafted Sarr and Coulibaly, and they traded for Davis. So this is great. And I don't know where Trae Young was included in that vision, but when Hawks drafted Trae Young, they said they had the vision of that being the Warriors, and that didn't manifest. So, the Wizards are manifesting some version of their vision here with this team. That's fantastic. Oh wait, it says they envisioned it as one of the best front courts in the league. Oh, this hasn't happened yet. I see. Oh, we didn't finish reading. I thought they said that we just envision our front court someday being Davis, Sarr, and Coulibaly. Oh, that's fantastic. You actually made that happen. Let's go. I don't know if that is that like who's the guy on the Magic that had everything up on the dry erase board that one time. The Wizards just like 3 years ago, they're like, okay, what's our dream scenario for a team? Just see, look at this, Anthony Davis. He's on everybody's dream scenario, but he is even still like the best version of Davis. Is like a hot take, a super impactful player. But we were talking about some of that center stuff, and it's especially Team USA. If we were looking for that World versus All-Star matchup, like Davis still might. There's an argument that the best version of Davis right now still might be the center that or the guy you want to run out there. We say as the 5. Is that how we have to say it, chat? We can't get Davis to play center, but it's like, hey Davis, can we run you at the 5? Hey yo, I don't know. But, if it's, like we're saying, well, hey, pause. I don't know if that's going to help the Davis, if that's going to talk him into it at all. But, hey, yo. But something about Team USA, chat. Hey, shout out to Davis. That's what we're saying. It is what it is. And the Mavs for moving on, for willing to bite the bullet. But, like, this new management group is not, I guess the ownership group is the same, but this new management group is not necessarily, committed to keeping Anthony Davis for the long term outside of just, I guess, it is what they got for Luka, and just the perception of maximizing, whatever is sort of, respectfully left of that trade. But like we were saying, the thing, I guess AJ Johnson is a nice piece. Oh, the other piece that I was thinking was Max Christie. That's who it is. Yes, if Max Christie is randomly good, then it's like, well, Harrison's a genius. Davis for the defense, unfortunately, didn't work out, but then they were able to get AJ Johnson. So there you go, Cooper Flagg, AJ Johnson, and Max Christie. That's a squad, chat. That's a squad. But I guess so. Wait, the Wizards is ecstatic that the outgoing first round picks will. So wait a second. Yeah, the Wizards are trading the first round picks, and I think they do have a couple. Yeah, relatively little value. So the Mavs not getting valuable picks back in the Luka Doncic trade. I guess it is what it is. But, at the end of the day, of course, ultimately them getting Cooper Flagg is the main thing at the end of the day. But I guess we'll just stop rambling about it at some point. I'm sure we'll mention it again when the next sort of Anthony Davis piece of news hits, because like we said, we're pro Davis on this pod. Shout out. There's gonna be all-time lineup simulations that we run where we're gonna run like ultimate versions of Anthony Davis in that lineup. Chat, let's go to the Chat GPT right now and run 5. Let 5 Davises versus 5 Lukas. Who's winning that game? Tell me Davis at the peak of his powers is not cooking Luka in that game. He's gonna cook him. Pelicans Davis. I mean, chat. Davis is great right now. Davis. There's gonna be times where he takes Luka or did I say? I don't even know who I'm talking about now. Lakers Luka. Mavs Luka. Any version of Luka. Luka is a fantastic offensive player. There's gonna be times where he's getting Davis off the dribble and he's gonna blow pause. Whoa, he's gonna get past him. Maybe he turns him around, kind of crosses him up, a little step back, and it's like, hey, yo, where's Davis going? How is he gonna keep up with Luka? But Pelicans Davis was just as good of an athlete as anybody in the league, and just there's no way. Again, speaking of the defense, like I guess if Doncic was a good defender, maybe, but I don't know if there was a defender in the league that could have contained Davis for a couple of seasons there. Speaking of Tim Duncan, it literally would have had to have been Tim Duncan just still in the league at the time that would have been capable of stopping him. Because again, the Pelicans just unfortunately weren't good. Like that is speaking of like maybe is that, I guess, am I Columboing it here? Did I say one more thing earlier? I'm not sure, but maybe that is the long lost piece of the Davis thing, or the part of the Davis thing that we ourselves have to sort of champion now in the legacy, is maybe trying to move him into sort of that, with respect to Charles Barkley, but like Charles Barkley tier of guys that didn't win a title. Because again, I feel like his career is I was thinking about him today in parallel with Chris Webber a lot. And, again, shout out to the Fat Five as well, too, for their great run at the Maize and Blue. But I was thinking about him in terms of the career where it's like this career is absolutely like, again, all-time great career. Like Davis is one of the 75 best players. that ever played. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's on the All 75 team. I don't know if Chris Webber is, but I think Davis is. Shout out. But I guess Davis, won a title as well too, so that does matter, I guess, a little bit. But again, a career where it's like the guy kind of got in some ways to the basketball apex of his abilities, but then again just never was able to have the consistent strings of success, and then of combining that with the rosters lining up at the same time. Like, again, for Barkley, like, you would never not say that Barkley, it's never like Barkley's fault, of course, is I guess the easy way to say it, but you would never say that, I guess, is Barkley's fault that he didn't win the title. And I feel like for Davis, you would probably say that, again, like, would you say that it would be his fault that he never experienced a title winning team as for him as the lead guy? But those Pelicans teams were never going to be that. For, again, the glimpses that they were, DeMarcus Cousins got hurt, some of those pieces fell apart, they were never able to sustain success there. And then the Lakers, of course, he was always going to be in the shadow of LeBron as just a figure as well too. So I mean, LeBron was definitely right there with him again for best player, impact player in the league, all different stuff. It's not like there wasn't it wasn't like Davis was just clear. There were times where he was the better player. But again, there obviously were times that LeBron was the better player as well too. He won the Finals MVP. But again, it's not necessarily Davis's fault that he wasn't quote unquote the best player on a title team and then got traded to the Mavs and got hurt. And it's not like this Mavs team would have won a title anyway. So it's like, I'm not saying Davis might as well be hurt because that's, again, we want to see Davis play. But I don't know if, Davis being out there is obviously going to make the team more competitive as well too. But I don't know if there is this Davis's fault that this team, didn't win the title or didn't achieve their ceiling type of seating. I guess ceiling versus, again, fulfilling sort of their championship potential as well too. And maybe there is sort of championship potential with Cooper Flag. I guess in some ways there is, for sure. So yeah, again, this Mavs tenure is not going to be like the, most fondly remembered tenure for our guy Anthony Davis. And again, some of that is not of his own doing. It is what it is. But yeah, I guess the last thing I was going to say, speaking of AJ Johnson, because this is going to be a long walk, but we'll get there. It is what it is. And I guess speaking of the trade, it connects to the trade deadline being passed and AJ Johnson. Do we say coming up next? Pause. What is that a tease? I don't think it quite hits that territory. But speaking of AJ Johnson, used to play on the Bucks. The trade deadline is passed. Giannis is still on the Bucks. And I had thrown the ESPN on one of the TVs here, as you do, when I got home from the restaurant, and I had thrown on. I've been remembering lately to go to the fifth ESPN channel, like ESPN News or whatever, and trying to catch the fourth. Yeah, I gotta get to the fifth ESPN channel to get the fourth rerun of whatever afternoon show was on during that time. And I guess I'm not. I guess we'll have to sit down in the summer and lock in on what ESPN programming is. We'll really catch back up and make sure to just log a lot of hours for research purposes on what's going on, with the ESPN programming. But for the bars at TV, the TVs, what are we saying? The TVs at the bar at work have been stuck on just the network stations lately. So it's just like Fox and CBS and ABC, and it's just like NBC, daytime dramas and court TV and, news and talk shows and just, again, just sort of the random collection of, and I guess normal ESPN as well too is just McAfee. It's not just McAfee, but it's you got for that middle of the working day, sort of a lot of McAfee there. And pause. I don't know if that's a pause or not, but definitely what is again, I don't know the programming. I guess there is kind of the two versions of it. See, now we're in the weeds. It is what it is. But the point being sort of that sub programming, the pod programming, because there is some fun shows there where, of course, you got Windhorst has a show. I'm pretty sure Mina Kimes still has a show there. Hey, I'm not saying that because she would not have a show, but just because I'm pretty sure that she's still at ESPN to my knowledge. But I saw today that Schrager had a show as well too. Shout out. Obviously, known he's been there for a while, but again, Ayo, we're locking back in. But I guess the point was on the Windhorst show, when I turned on the TV, they had a graphic of the NBA lottery as it currently stands, the top 10 teams in the NBA lottery, and they had the Bucks at 9th. And I don't remember exactly where the Mavs were when they jumped up, and I feel like the Spurs when they jumped up to get Castle or was it Harper? How far did we jump up? Or Wemby? Maybe all those guys we got lucky. I guess Wemby we were tied for the number 1 overall pick, so it's not necessarily lucky that we got that. It's just one of those 3 teams had to win. They all had the same odds, and it was us. It is what it is. But and obviously the Wizards have Anthony Davis now, so there's their Wembanyama. And who was we don't even remember the 3rd team that was tied with the Spurs and the Wizards at that point. Oh, it was the Blazers, and the Blazers have Denny Avdia, so they're fine. Shaedon Sharpe, that team's fine. That is our sleeper Giannis team. So the Blazers will get Giannis, the Wizards have Davis, and the Spurs have Wembanyama. It'll all work out. But the Bucks now, I think, are officially on they might win the lottery watch. And here, let me pull the top 10 back up, because the other piece that made me think about this, and we've said this before, and it's the main reason that, like we said, the Spurs won the lottery, is because it is systematically, for an NBA organization, the institution of San Antonio is considered obviously one of the stable, best institutions in the NBA. And if you're going to have a superstar player on the level of Wembanyama, we don't have the web page fired up, chat. IT slacking. It is what it is. Okay, there we go. If you're going to have a player, the star power of Wembanyama, you're going to want to have him on a stable, good franchise. So, if you have 3 choices and one of them is San Antonio, make it San Antonio. But as of right now, Sacramento has the number one worst. They have the worst record in the league at 12-40, and you have Atlanta at 13-40 and Indiana at 13-38. So again, the top 3 all have the same. That is important to point out. So just because Sacramento's the worst, that little separation does, again, like Atlanta and Indiana both have the same amount of chance to win this pick. And Brooklyn at 12.5, really is not that far behind as well too, with that 4th spot. But the fact that Sacramento is just right now the team that we'll say, quote unquote, is most likely to, again, I have to frame it a certain way so the Spurs look legit when they got Wembanyama. It is what it is. But right now we'll say Sacramento is the most likely team to win the lottery. And or most deserving, how do you want to phrase it? If Sacramento should have the number 1 overall pick in this talented of a draft, I don't know if the league will have that happen. I don't know if the league wants Sacramento having a number 1 pick. Something about that, just, again, I don't know if they've earned, with all due respect, it's a talented draft. So if they end up 2 or 3, and, I don't know if this one necessarily, in terms of the way the draft is looked at, has a Wembanyama type. Again, there could be in terms of the way the ceilings for the players play out for the careers, but again, for Sacramento to end up, if Sacramento has the 3rd pick and they get Cam Boozer, you might take him at 1 anyway. So again, it doesn't really matter to some degree, what pick you get there. But in terms of who could randomly jump in the lottery, I guess is the long way of saying it. Milwaukee could be, I think, a team at this point that is in random jump up territory. I do think, OKC with that Lakers or that Clippers pick is definitely something to watch. If the Clippers just randomly even jump up again into the top 4, like that's just, all of a sudden DeBasta is now on OKC. It's like, what are we doing? And, San Antonio could have that same fate as well too. So in some ways I need just the luck to be out here at the end of the draft so the Spurs could maybe get some of it. I don't know. But I think the league might cut off OKC and San Antonio from the top of the draft. I think they're good. OKC was so successful at drafting that it's now cost them $1 billion in salary cap with Shea and Jalen Williams and Chet. And obviously the Spurs are headed that way. We've got our $1 billion corner. So is that the new term now in the NBA? We were in the era of big 3. What do we have, like dynamic duos? MJ and Pippen, Shaq and Jordan, Duncan and Robinson, Magic and Bird, Magic and Kareem, Bird and Michaela. Celtics were Bird and a bunch of other great all-pros, all-stars as well too. But the of course big 3 era, where you had the Heatles, you had the Warriors, you had mainly just those 2. I guess the Spurs big 3 as well too after the Duncan Robinson run there. And now we're in the era of the $1 billion core, where the salary caps have skyrocketed and the league has second aprons that make no sense. It is what it is. But again, and I'm sure we'll have time to make the case for all these teams, and they'll have time to continue to showcase their case as well too, to earn that number 1 pick. Again, the number 1 pick is earned. It's not given. It is not necessarily just freely bestowed to the the luck of the odds. The league will look at all these teams. They will investigate landing zones, and they will decide what is the best place for a superstar player to end up. But yeah, as of right now, I do think that Milwaukee is now after the trade deadline, but after we know that Giannis is probably going to be gone in the offseason, I think that they are officially on number 1 seed watch, or number 1 overall pick watch. Because either way, that is, and again, it's easy to just sit here and say, it just depends on, I guess, what you're interested in. It's easy to sit here and say that it's the most compelling storyline to look at in the draft. But if you have Milwaukee sitting there with Giannis and the number 1 pick, and Giannis has the opportunity to go, hey, do I want to play with one of these young guys and potentially try to rebuild this thing around that? And, again, does it make sense to have that type of salary on a team that I'm on in terms of a star player? Like, if he's thinking about that stuff in the modern NBA, like, maybe it makes sense to stay in Milwaukee. I think they traded Turner as well, too. So maybe there is a case that they are able to, again, reset some of the stuff a little bit sooner rather than later. But if they have that ability to reset the franchise as well, too, then maybe he doesn't feel as obligated to stay and to potentially, like we're saying, have to potentially, he could potentially just leave in the trade and not have to feel guilty about the team, or, not to say that he would anyways, but he would be fine, and the team would more so be fine with him leaving and having that franchise asset in place and having a more certain piece than having to worry about getting that back in a trade. More so as well, too, like Dallas, where not necessarily that you're, I guess, banking on trading your superstar and the league is going to just give you a top draft pick. But I don't know if it wouldn't necessarily not happen again with Milwaukee, because I don't know if the league cares as well, too, about being rigged. After San Antonio, after Dallas, just like, we'll just rig it. It is what it is. And then just tell them it's a lottery. And if, we get caught one day, I guess they'll figure it out then. But I don't know if that's the place to go to break. It is what it is, but we'll take a quick break and then we'll be back. This J. Cole album is, it's been waited long enough for us. It's been waited long enough for in general. 10 years in the making. Is that what he was saying, chat? Hey, yo. So I think it's definitely worth a listen. If it's J. Cole, if it took him a while, it's probably going to be good. So we'll be back to give it a spin right after this. The Fall Off up next. All right, we are back, ready to dive in. J. Cole's The Fall Off, top left corner if you're watching the screen, the newest album on the J. Cole Spotify page. And, of course, the album that he has been crafting for apparently the last 10 years. You know, we haven't been following, are we bad music journalists? It's just, you know, like we've said before, we like to experience the album itself as sort of as new as possible. You know, the first time listening to it. And a lot of course, the things in the pre-rollout are very important in terms of the concept and the world building and just, you know, having a greater connection to the music and to the artist and to the project itself. But again, to be able to have, I guess, just the purest reaction to the songs and to the music, I guess we just like to, you know, catch back up on the pre-rollout afterwards. I don't know, you know, if those things, of course, hit the algorithm. And, you know, a lot of times we do end up seeing, of course, a lot of that stuff is unavoidable in a good way as well, too, as, you know, especially you get to, like, you know, J. Cole, I'm thinking Tyler, the Creator as well, too, when he starts to roll out, you know, a lot of the things that you see on social media are just going to be undeniable, and the conversation, the hype is definitely going to build there. But yeah, we may have also, should I mention, we may have also booked a special appearance in the break, so stay tuned there. You know, anything can happen live on the REMINGTOM pod. It's always a exciting time, but the album itself, I think it's just time to get into it. The artwork is the picture of course, his place, his childhood. Did he say his childhood, you know, his childhood home where he was cooking up beats originally as a teen? And did he say he cooked up his first beat ever? He cooked up his first song ever on this machine right here. And there was, speaking of the, you know, again, avoiding stuff but still seeing stuff, this was, I guess, was this the original cover that was announced? Because there was that cover that, make no mistake, if he had actually committed to that, and that was the Spotify artwork that was posted, definitely would have roasted him for it. It is what it is. He definitely has trended the last couple of projects into a little bit of a Photoshop type of lane that is a little strange, and I guess this one as well too. There was simplisticness with the font work that was kind of funny. Let me see if I can find the version that I saw kind of being posted around initially when he announced like this version of the actual rollout. Of course, you know, the Bing results don't even give you the good version of the cover. It doesn't even give you a cover. It's just like fan pages and random stuff. It is what it is. So shout out to all the great fan concept art that has been, you know, dropped during this time, I guess. It is what it is there. You know, a lot of time to be able to cook this stuff up, for sure, when it relates to this project. But for actually finding the artwork, it was reminding me a little bit, honestly, of Honestly Nevermind. But it had kind of a fire version of it, where I think maybe Honestly Nevermind is fire. Is it just like silver fire? No, it's like silver. It's like metallic. It's like a biker gang. Hey, yeah, here we go. It's like the back of like a leather jacket on like a motorcycle guy. Shout out. He's, you know, I feel like that's pretty good description, you know, a visual enough there. But it was this sort of, you know, the, of course, blacked out background with the curved, the curved font across the front. But the fall off was like on fire. There was flames. Can we say shooting out of the fall off? It is what it is. But here, let me go the B-Lou route here and look up Google and then go that way. Here we go. Fall off cover. And let me see. This should hopefully be able to find it pretty quickly. Oh, yeah, here we go. This is what he had. Let me get the screen pulled up here. Are we good? Oh, yeah. Boom. Perfect. This is what he had as the fall off right here on the right. So I guess this is what he ended up announcing too as the track list as well. Is this the is that the back of the vinyl, or is that like it folded out or something? I don't know there, but yeah, this looks like a bad tattoo. Hey, yo, we might end up getting this fall off if the album's good enough. This will be the artwork that we get in honor of it. But in terms of being the album cover, of course, the image and the sort of full circle, just the idea that is in play here, I guess, with that concept of like we're saying, paying homage to sort of the career and the rise and fall of, do we say himself as an artist? But just that that sort of cycle that you go through at being sort of at the top of your game, and then moving into that next phase of your career. And I guess that is something, of course, interesting with this album as well too. And I don't know if how much pre-talk do we do before this album? We might honestly just have to fire up the first track and just mix in the pre-talk pause as we go. It is what it is. But there was I guess another conversation as well too of this being a retirement album for him. And I guess we'll see how clear he makes that in the lyrics, maybe. But he did have this other alternate artwork as well, too, that we see listed on his artist page, which is, of course, a very great image. And you've got the red stripe here background with, I guess, maybe some sort of gray concrete pillar sides, maybe some type of, veil situation rolled. That's probably what it is, right? Some type of red veil draped against some kind of concrete wall. But this, for some reason, was also reminding me of, like, the Blueprint 3, Ayo, which, I guess if we pull that album cover up here, was early in the J. Cole rise, of course, and the track that he featured on this track list was actually called A Star Is Born, and, we're not necessarily the historians here to give you the whole backstory to that, but 2009, the early J. Cole run, you kind of got the inverted version of this, where you had the red stripes, going horizontal on the Blueprint album, and then kind of the the white background, kind of the is monochromatic? Is that the right use of that term there? I'm not sure, the monochromatic background, but kind of the same color palette, of course, and the same stripe situation in the middle of the album there. So this album, I mean, along with a couple, I think, where I guess I don't know if this album was supposed to be like a retirement album for Jay-Z, but of course the Black Album was supposed to be a retirement, or was branded as some sort of retirement album, retirement tour for Jay-Z. And here we are with the Blueprint 3. I mean, Watch the Thrones, Kingdom Come, American Gangster, 444, Magnum Carta. Like, the man dropped 7 albums, like, after, he said he was going to retire multiple times. I guess 444 actually was his last album, but there's still even rumors, I guess, will he ever drop an album again? Well, we'll see there. But regardless, the initial retirement was not correct. And in 03, I don't think we were ready to see Jay-Z go as well, too. Is that the year the Black, is that 05 or 03? Hey, we're bad. See, we're bad journalists. We don't even know the year that one of the greatest albums ever dropped. But for, of course, a guy like Nas as well, too. Nas has dropped like 9 albums since 2008. Like, what did he drop? Like 6 albums with Hit Boy in the 2020s. And I don't know if he ever announced retirement, maybe the same way that these guys have hinted toward it. But, again, with the way that these careers can be continuous, and, Nas even dropping an album this year, like, I don't think Nas has ever been a guy that's been worried about, like, commercial success as well, too. But if Nas is in this lane where it's like, hey, I can drop an album that is, again, good, but I can, I guess, let me rephrase, I can drop a quality project and it can still be received in good faith by the people. Again, it's still received, I guess, well at the time, however you want to phrase it. Like, he can drop a project with critical acclaim, again, obviously, how we approve something in our time is not always going to, again, be the main thing to judge art on by as well, too. But, again, for Nas, he can still, drop an album these days and people can still appreciate it. But maybe it's not going to be, again, like the top of mind is everybody's critical list, or like, going to do 200,000 copies first week, and Nas is going to be, the star legacy guy. But speaking of, a guy like Kevin Love, being the veteran on the bench, it's a little bit different than being in the NBA, I think, and not getting playing time. Like, again, you can still get playing time even if you're playing on a different level at that point. I guess, is that just like if Kevin Love went to go play, in like the NBL or something? I don't know. But for, these guys, of course, I think these music careers can just, again, be continuous in a way that, again, we're still seeing with hip hop evolve as, again, just the game, and as veterans even get to that place as well, too. Like, again, Nas is, sort of some of the first, like even Ice Cube dropped an album this year, like or in 2020. Was that 24 or 20? I'm pretty sure in 25 he dropped that album. So, that's, again, we're going back to the inception of, I guess. And I mean, do we have to look up? Rakim dropped an album within the last 2 years. Like, again, these careers can just keep on going. I'm not saying that, Rakim's dropped an album every 2 years since like the 80s. But, again, to say that J. Cole's going to retire after the fall off in 2024 would seem like real commitment for him just to never make music again. Honestly, what would be more impressive? Him just staying retired, or, again, him continuing the the music career? I honestly don't know at this point. So I'm not going to hold it against him in some ways that, like, this is not a retirement album. And again, maybe that's the fan perception, and it from the way I've heard people talk about the marketing angle of this as well too. Again, it has been more a focus of sort of that full circle sort of, again, it's been more sort of the narrative angle for J. Cole about the artist. Again, more so than maybe it is for his career in terms of, not to say that he's not going to address where he's at, but, again, and more so for retirement. But unless he explicitly says, like, I'm going to, like, the last track is like, I'm stepping away. And it's like, hey, again, I haven't seen this yet. So I know we're almost 24 hours behind now. And then if we keep rambling, we're going to be 24 hours behind at some point. But, unless the last track is stepping away, I guess I don't know if it's going to be a retirement album per se. But, I guess we also have thoughts on, of course, where he stands now in the place of the beef. But is that even important? I guess it is, because he's going to address it. So maybe we'll get there when he gets there. But we just got to listen at some point and get there. An hour 41. Let's go. Let's go, chat. He's going for it. I mean, does J. Cole, again, I think, could you section off? I'm trying to figure out the best way to phrase this. It shouldn't be this difficult. Again, if we're talking about a great artist, it's don't take my stuttering as it means the point is wrong. It's just, if you took any segment of like if you just stacked all of J. Cole's songs up in a row from all of his albums, and you just cut them off at any, I guess 15, any 24 section song part. Has he dropped 24 songs before this? I don't know. Yes, okay. If you cut him off at any 24 section part for his album, I think you're gonna get a good album at any point. So I'm not worried about the quality. I guess we'll see. Of course, I guess we'll see. 24. Tupac dropped a double album, so I guess you got to do it at some point, right? How Mr. Morale though is still only like. Now immediately bringing Kendrick back up. It's like, okay, it is. What do we do? Judging a book by its cover. If it's an hour 41 of good music, it's an hour 41 of good music. Hey, it is what it is. Okay, track 129 intro. Let's play from the. Hey, we're still not playing from the right device. Let's play from the right device. Oh, chat, the speaker. We've rambled so long, the speaker turned off. It is what it is. Oh, wait a second. Do we have the Spotify going? Okay, it is what it is. We'll be right back. We got to turn the speaker on. Testing. Are we there? Okay, we're back. We're on. We're connected. We're ready to go. We got to get the right device again this time. Okay, we should be now actually finally ready to go. Oh man, it is what it is. What we're over here criticizing J. Cole on runtime. Hey, who are we to talk? I guess going forward, IT, make note, never criticize on runtime again. Okay, 29 intro, J. Cole. Let's go here. It says disc 29 on our Spotify. Is that right? 128 pixels on the computer Spotify seems a little not right there. Oh, wait a second. Let me get this clicked off, moved around. Okay, this is just an intro track. We've got a minute runtime. J. Cole just setting the stage. In my mind, I'm going to Carolina. Can't you see the sunshine? Can't you see the moonshine? Ain't it just like a friend of mine to hit me from behind? Yes, I'm going to Carolina. In my mind, Karen, she's a silver sun. You best walk her way and watch it shining. Watch her, watch the morning come. Whoa, hey, silver tear appearing. Now I'm crying, ain't I? I'm going to Carolina. In my, whoa. And then there's a sudden stop. Oh, you knew. Oh, a cutoff, chat. You knew that's what it was going to be. Hey, yo. So, J. Cole, somebody taken down by unfortunate events, I guess, to open up the track. We've got definitely some hi-hats. It seemed like we were building up for maybe a little bit of a drop, a little bit of a high energy track to start off. And of course, hey, I'm checking the speaker. Is J. Cole over there? Is he going yet? Is he rapping? What's going on? IT. We're definitely going to be on the mute for this one. Like we said, we're going to be trying our best to keep up with the lyrics as explained. Oh, the blog, chat. We should have been reading the blog. Okay. This is what I was saying. This does feel a little bit maybe heavier than some of J. Cole's beats in the past, which is something that I was hoping for on this album. There is, of course... Hey, yo, we might have to mute just to check this one out. And I don't know what has, of course, been dropped in terms of, like, the Birthday Blizzard mixtapes and, stuff like we're saying on the blog before. Is this 24 tracks also a collection of tracks? Like, some of this stuff has been, is being repurposed on this album that has been used in those other formats before. But, of course, I would say if we were to compare to Cole to Kendrick and Drake, I mean, ayo, probably going to happen a few times in this one. But, I mean, one of the things that does stand out about Cole's discography, and ayo, Kendrick, of course, gets, I think, the lyric, obviously that, like, philosophical angle to his music. But, I mean, he does have, obviously, just, like, some great I mean, he's just a great, hit maker as well, too. And not to say that J. Cole doesn't have great hits in his catalog. But J. Cole is a little bit... I mean, speaking of the blueprint, speaking of Jay-Z, like, going back to the day, one of those controversial things about one of those hot stories, I guess, about his rise is Jay-Z, like, having Drake, like, needed, going to Cole and be like, hey, does Drake need to write a hit song for you so you can get it on the album and then the album become, like, a viable thing, whatever. Like, again, J. Cole has always been, again, a little bit more of a, like, you can't just say like a non-hit maker. Hey, yo. But, has just been a little bit more of a pure song maker. But a lot of his beats that he has made haven't necessarily, and, there has been, I think, in his production as well, too, sort of that Kanye stylism that he has gravitated toward. But even Ye himself, by the time you get to Graduate, I mean, Yeezus, like, Cole hasn't really had anything like Yeezus in his discography, or even Life of Pablo. Like, Yeezus is obviously, oh, it's so futuristic. That album should be dropped. That album should have been dropped in 2013. But, even like Life of Pablo, which is, I wouldn't say as experimental as, sonically as an album like Yeezus, but is definitely, or maybe even like Graduation as well, too. Who knows? But is still an album that is a sonic advancement from Late Registration and from College Dropout in terms of, again, maybe the energy banger level pause of the album there and some of the sonic updates that have been made. And even on the off season as well, I think there is definitely Cole upping the intensity and the aggressiveness of a lot of his flows where, again, I mean, you're literally going from 2014 Forest Hills Drive to, that 3-album run of 14 Hills Drive. What do we got there? That just shows you we don't go back to the one. Changes is obviously a great song off of that album with the black and white cover on it. But is it Deja Vu? Is the name of the album cover? When we think of Deja Vu, obviously, if you watch the tapes, it's the Denzel Washington, Tony Scott, Paula Patton joint. You got to name all three when you talk about Deja Vu. It's again, speaking of the Heatles, it's like a big 3 performance there in that movie. But that and KOD, again, are all very sort of consistent sonic projects. And the offseason, he's definitely advancing, again, sort of the aggressiveness and the mentality and the attacking of his bars. But some of his beats are still a little bit they're just more a darker version of some of the soulful stuff that he has been doing. And, Ayo, obviously now we're on track safety. But to go back to track 2-6, I can already tell that, immediately off this album, this is going to be one of the ones that, we're going to be bumping right away. But for it to fit into some of the trap energy stuff, and that is what is fun about the Revenge of the Dreamers projects, is because it does, get him in that environment. Under the Sun is, again, a posse cut type environment. And what is the other one that I'm not knowing? Down Bad? Is that the name of the track that he's on? Where he's like that's the one where he has the bar where he talks about LeBron. Hey yo, we're just like, what's the song where he talks about LeBron on Revenge of the Dreamers? But he's got the same story as that boy out of St. Vincent St. Mary. Is that the line? I think that's vaguely the line. Hey yo. But again, that is, and Jid and some of the other guys in there, like, that is playing a little bit more into some of those elements. So I do hope that he is not shying away from that on this album. Oh, he has a track on here, all caps, called Who TH is spelled IZ and then you. Hey, yo. Oh, you guys so excited I almost skipped to it. Hey, yo. Safety. Do we have to go back and re-listen to this one? Hey, yo. Where were we at, chat? It is what it is. Right there? Somewhere in there? Wait, okay, well, can we dial in where this is at on the lyrics at this point? Okay, Boulevard. He says Boulevard. Cullinans. Unoriginal. Plus, I know they don't be budgeting. Come in. Whoa, boy. I sun in them. They know I'm really one of them. We should actually listen to where he's at here real quick. Wait, let me dial it in. I know a lot is on your plate. Oh, plate. We got to look for plate. Okay. I'm a small fish from a pond. They crash out. Like a rat going plat with her out. Ooh, chat. Hey, yo, a family show. J. Cole. It is what it is. Okay, the chorus might be a little off limits, but shout out. He will have a hook that, again, I guess is catchy to some degree there. Like cheerleaders, I be stepping. I don't want them to kill for me. I don't want nobody getting killed for me. Hey, yo. So is this now where we're starting to reference the beef? I mean, everything is going to be in reference to that. I guess this track is titled Safety. We got to lock in on the meanings, chat. Hey, yo. We're over here just vibing out. It's more for us about just vibes. Like, is this, what's the vibe of this beat? When am I going to listen to this track in the car? Is basically how we listen to albums. And then, again, how do the cadences of the verses match that? But I guess we'll try to go the next level and see where it goes from there. Cole is known for positive vibes and moral image. Okay, so you're really setting up the story here on the Genius, making sure, we know about his image there. The idea connects the themes from the third track of the album, Safety, where Cole raps from the perspective of his homeboy, who understands that Cole would never endorse violence, even if provoked. In that song, his friend considers retaliating against someone dissing Cole, but stops, knowing Cole would likely urge peace over revenge. Hey, yo, chat. I mean, should we just retitle this video Kendrick Fan Reviews Cole's Music? Because, of course, immediately it makes me think of, is that Triple X? It's not Duckworth. Duckworth is the track, of course, about his dad and the top dog. Well, I was gonna say, can we say the top dog chicken story? I have a lazy way of phrasing it, but the track that I'm thinking of is the track where he's addressing like gun violence in the track, and the kids, something about gun control. And he like goes and speaks in front of the class in that track, and he's like, if I almost wanted to look up the words to the track now, but he's like, if my guy goes to me and he's like, hey, like, of course, like, so, I guess now we have to start the story from the beginning. What is it? Somebody retaliates against his friend by getting his son, so the guy goes to Kendrick to try to find peace because he knows he's a spiritual man. But instead of Kendrick giving him peace, Kendrick just instead tells him, no, actually, if somebody, harmed my son, like, everybody in the squad is getting eliminated, if that's the case. So, I mean, obviously this story, and that story as well, too. I mean, in a way, does frame where both of those guys were at when that beef happened as well, too. And again, so much of this album, I don't want to say so much of this album is tied to that, but I would say so much of where, I guess the problem of where so much of this is tied to Cole specifically. And again, Ayo, for not to connect everything to that, but obviously Kendrick and Drake were in it. Cole was in it, to some degree as well too. But where it does also apply to Cole greater than that is the fact that he was positioning himself lyrically to be the greatest of all time. That's what he was. That's the perspective that he was rapping. That was the title that he was pursuing. Again, when he was in in his music. Hey yo, a new Cole energy in this one. Speaking of KOD, I don't know why this immediately took us back to like KOD days, listening to that album. But he did have some fun kind of type of like different yelling hooks on that album. We'll defend that album again. We were comparing it to trap albums earlier. Is it culture? But it's still a great project to listen to. This one's called Run a Train. Hey yo, do we want to investigate the lyrical content of this track? Hey yo, J. Cole maybe addressing some undressing. What's he doing, chat? Hey yo, how do you know about my passion? Oh, here we go. Ever you know about my pain? What do you know about my struggle? What do you know about Jermaine? So he is kind of borrowing from that hook a little bit on KOD. What is that hook on KOD? Where I think he does have that line, what do you know about my pain, in the hook itself. And I think that might actually be most of the hook. I must want to cue that song up. Should we Shazam it and see if the Shazam finds that song instead of this one? That would be disrespectful to our guy Cole. And again, I guess using it for different storytelling purposes in this track. These lines are all directed to the friends that started reaching out to Cole after his success. He's asking them to know, hey, yo, we just got an alert. Paige isn't responding. It's blocking our reading of the genius here. Okay, he's asking about what they know about him before his success and about how hard he is working, trying to make it when they were not there to support him. They say the Lord's timing is divine and I walk with him, so that explains mine. Cole, deep down, you may find all the pain creates a strange bond. Slums connected like drums in a bass line, petrified like death and poverty, I chase mine. Like breathalyzers, I try to walk a straight line, meditating for a better state in my deranged mind, till I saw the Buddha pose and realized he'd throwing gang signs. Oh, chat, Buddha. Nobody's ever referred to it as a peace gang before, but hey, yo, the Buddha in a peace gang. I guess lessons is you can't escape crime. Even when the strays flying, I remain calm. Vietnam, you in my heart, but at the time, if I'm honest, I can feel the flame dying. Oh, chat. Hey, yo. Didn't expect the hometown to be taking a shot there. Let's see if the genius addresses that further. Is admitting that his emotional connection to his hometown is finally fading. While he'll always love where he came from, the constant trauma and loss described in safety is making it harder for him to. If you're gonna, consistently have traumatic memories associated to that, there is just gonna be a disconnect. Even of course, if the emotions, the original emotions, of course, are still going to be there as well too. But so I'm riding through the streets, reaching for a memory to hang on, going backwards like a penalty to see a younger me, but the day's gone. Wild times, looking up at cloud 9. How high can Jermaine climb? Remember when they respond? Remember when they ain't respond when you holla? Funny how a few $100s can change minds. So Cloud 9 was one of the singles, if I'm not mistaken, that he dropped recently as well too. So I don't know if that is a slight reference to that, but in Future, we're talking over Future on the hook. And did we miss a Future verse, or was he just sneaky on the hook there? I mean, we definitely would have heard a Future verse. So yeah, if this is the only Future feature on an album, is this the first time Future has ever featured on a Cole album? Are we getting through that without tongue twistering? I don't know. I don't know if we can explain tongue twistering without tongue twistering, but Future featuring on a J. Cole album is definitely something that for some reason we can easily say. But the first time Future has wandered over into the Cole discography, kind of being used on a hook in that way. And again, Cole on the hook as well too, and a hook that Cole himself had already used, that had kind of already had in the past, is a little bit of an interesting curation choice from J. Cole there. Again, bring it. I don't know if Future was just in the studio and he's like, hey, let me just record that real quick. And it's not like, oh, what do I want to have Future for on this project? Let it be this thing of all the things that it could possibly be. But again, we'll see if that was something that will be repeated, their partnership, I guess. And Run It, and of course Future, I forgot that track's called Run a Train. Hey, yo, you got Future on the Run a Train track, so maybe he's just there for sort of the symbolism of what is happening there. Poor Thing, track 5 is, like we said, we got a little bit more speed in the drums here, a little bit quicker pace to the tempo. Poor Thing, young pups playing war games. He wanted love, but he only made more pain. Poor Thing, young pup playing war games. Picture my soul climbing out infinite holes. If I survive, then I strive to hit with the flow. Hopping these waves will pave, but the ripples is slow. I'm conflicted with no digits to show, but fantasy is frivolous. Hose gripping this pole. The temperature's low, like tires on the whip in the snow. This is for sure. I'm tippy-toeing around the abyss with the sticks blowing. His hoe with intentions to glimpse. Risk glowing. Faced his for rent. Owen. Hey, yo. So J. Cole obviously painting the picture of the world there. Lives expire. Pride gets higher. When the vocal range inside, raise the vocal chain. My road to fame is right with spikes and broken lanes and tolls I can't afford. But I won't complain. I know the more I gotta struggle is the more I gain. No pain, no gain. Shout out, J. Cole is locked in. Post-traumatic stress on an immature brain leaves another corpse. Young pup playing war games. Now he's handcuffed. Old lady saying poor thing. Oh, Boosie chat. Boosie and Future in back-to-back songs. Hey, yo. J. Cole, what is easily in contention for best feature list in some ways. Most exciting feature list, most fun feature list that he's had in an album so far. You want to talk? You want to run your mouth? You want some gangsters in front of your mother effing house? We'll set them off, yes. You wanna what? Here go a song that gives a put my stun on. Hey, yo, shout out. Boosie might be winning the album so far. The hook from Boosie might be the funnest thing that we've had. I guess if we're going purely for entertainment and fun, catchy, hook type stuff, obviously Boosie is going to he checked some of the boxes there. He might. But shout out couple threes off the bench for Boosie there for sure in his appearance. Wait, do we have an interlude? I thought I just heard like a dial. Okay, we do have a dial tone. Message, voicemail, anything? Is it going to start the next track? No, okay, so just a voicemail. I guess if there was a refrain there, here, the genius is once again loading, so we'll see if there was a voicemail. Hey, what's up? Hey, what's up? Hey, what's up? Yo, you good? What's up? What's up? What's up? Oh, so no. It was sort of I guess the call just being cut off there at the end. Pull out no pistol, rummy my fade. Come get your issue. No one gets sprayed. Win or lose, gets to fight another day. And if I take a L, I ain't feel no way. Because I've been through lots of things. Oh, chat. Interesting. If he takes an L, he won't feel a lot of ways. So, obviously there is that admittance to taking an L. He has admitted in the the L nature, of course, the move, I don't know if the apology, but just of how the beef played out as well, too. I guess he would acknowledge that he did not win that scenario, regardless of maybe he wouldn't say he lost, but, again, he wouldn't necessarily step up and say that he won. But again, I guess we were saying that he kind of is saying that maybe he lost or took an L in a sense. Because if I take an L, I won't feel no way because I've been through a lot of things. And that is obviously true. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, yes, the idea that you're getting criticized over a rap beef is probably not the most intense thing that he has ever gone through in his life, and probably not the thing that will be, again, weighing on his mind the most, or, going to be the decision in his life that he regrets the most is going to be, again, there are more important, more weighty, more emotional, again, important for the better or worse. There are more impactful moments, in his life that have happened, I'm sure. That goes for all of us, and, our, in your career, however passionate, again, you are about your career or whatever. But the fact that, like we're saying, again, if he is kind of admitting in these things that, again, he's not necessarily, he is kind of, taking the loss on the side of things. But, I guess I don't know if he'll, like we're saying, he's going to address it further. So I want to see exactly what he says about it as well, too. But we do have, speaking of hooks, a bit of a singing hook on this next one. And I can't tell if that's Cole's vocals that are auto-tuned there, if he's got a feature. Which is, of course, a credit to Cole, if though that is the vocal work. I like this one just for the uniqueness of the production here. It feels like this is in that, this is something experimental, new for Cole's discography. I'm not seeing, in a quick scroll through the Genius, I'm not seeing a feature listed. So yes, it must be J. Cole. Is this what it is? Texting you, trying to find the one who got away from me, texting you. So is this kind of in line with his Fever track off of Might Delete Later? I don't know there. Commitment issues. I can't decide what's for dinner. Whoa, double entendre from our guy Cole. Pardon these selfish flows. I need Yelp for hoes. I need to read reviews because because some of the evil I see you do is unbelievable. Menopause. Whoa. Hey, yo. J. Cole. I guess let's see what the Genius is saying here. The Genius won't even load. It won't even respond to this J. Cole bar. It is what it is. But if it did pop up here, these are the lines J. Cole raps at Triple Entendre. Okay, biologically, someone going through menopause cannot conceive. Inconceivable. Oh, okay. Menopause. Inconceivable. Oh, okay. The evil he witnesses is so extreme, it's mentally impossible to grasp. Inconceivable for sure. The wordplay. Menopause suggests pause on men, where women's actions are so toxic, they bring the relationship and his trust in women to dead stop. Now, that's what it says on the Genius about the J. Cole bar, but, I mean, the wordplay is, I guess, locked in for our guy. Honestly, is this, and maybe we're just still, I say we, like I'm going to be over here adding annotations into this, but maybe the community is still putting together and figuring out what J. Cole is talking about. It can take, maybe this is take some time to digest for this project in a way. But I feel like there hasn't been, maybe we just haven't clicked on it as well too. But I feel like there hasn't necessarily been that type of situation where it's like, because J. Cole can have that in his music as good as anybody, where he is going to, again, the word itself is going to be tied to the next word where it means menopause, means inconceivable. But it is also going to be that way where you can kind of like break up the word into the meaning itself. So, again, are we holding J. Cole now to an impossible lyrical standard? I'm just saying that up until this point, and, again, this is 24 songs, but I would say he's maybe a little lyrically tighter in the off season than he is here. But again, maybe that is saved for disc 2. Maybe this is a different sort of, again, the vibiness here and the word flow and the meanings of the tracks, I mean, are all very fantastic. And like we said, maybe mixing up some of the production on the bridges and the hooks as well too is new for me. I mean, speaking of Cloud9, that track we referenced earlier, like he was kind of, if I'm not mistaken, running that auto tune. Hey yo, chat, where the voice is going sooner in this one than it did in the Don Tolliver live stream. The he did kind of run some of that auto tune. You know, I guess I'm just referring to that simply in that way, but that, like, you know, that tweaked vocal type stuff, I think, on the hooks there in the background, you know, just kind of mixing up the production. It is what it is. You know, we've been, again, adding J. Cole back into the rotation as well, too, for the fall off. You know, we've been waiting for this project in, I guess, a lot of ways. But we've got, again, I guess, J. Cole with another kind of singing performance here. Hey, yo, it's our guy Cole, because once again, I didn't see any features listed as well. And this is the kind of dark, soulful, kind of jazzy production that he has been leaning into in some of the recent singles and snippets that, of course, he has been dropping. So that consistent soundscape, again, even if it is, you know, a lane that even if it's not, you know, trap beats like we're saying, it is still a great soundscape for him. And it is, like, there is a style to his beats where it's like, I can almost, you know, I wouldn't say like every time I heard a beat, can you guess a J. Cole beat? But there is a uniqueness to it where I don't know if anybody else kind of makes beats on his sound. And, you know, in some ways he's almost kind of got like an underground tone to his production. And, you know, again, has just obviously been able to achieve that major commercial success as well too over the course of his career. But hey, yo, do we have to switch up the look here real quick, chat? Hey, yo, we got hairs in our face and all kinds of stuff. We got to switch up the look because we've got a caller, chat. Let's see. Can we take a call? Let's see what we have got going on here. Oh, hey, yo. Oh, man, I guess we're going to have to stumble into the setup. It is what it is. Let me see. Oh, and then Sam's here and I'm gone. Let me see if I can get Pop back up. Just the voice. Okay, hey, there we are. Okay, we're back. Hey, shout out. I guess there we go. Spoiler alert. Sam calling in from the Bay, reporting live. How's it going? We've got him here on a Friday night. What's got you excited this time of year? Welcome in 2026. The first time we get to check in with our man. What's got you excited right now? Are you excited for the Super Bowl, trade deadline? You know, I know you're a Drake guy, J. Cole album. There's a lot going on. What are we catching up on? Are you on mute?
No, there's so much going on,
Okay.
and it's good to see you in 2026. And yeah, you know, of course, the Bay Area is buzzing right now with the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we got people on scene. You know, I know people on the ground. Super Bowl experience. Could have been
Ooh.
there, could have done a live shot, but no interesting celebrities to speak of. I think it was like signings from DeMarcus Ware and Delaney Walker. I'm like, I'll
Oh,
pass.
shots to Demarcus Ware. Demarcus Ware,
Just
not
say,
an
isn't he
interesting
retired or
celebrity?
something? Like, come on, come on.
Demarcus Ware, one of the great pass rushers.
Did you even watch? I guess starting off the top. I'm sorry, I got to throw the Bay under the bus. They messed up the All Star game, and now they're messing up Super Bowl something. I don't know what number we're at. Did you see the Pro Bowl? We're
I honestly
playing
did not.
the Pro Bowl in a freaking conference center in
Oh,
a
no.
warehouse. Like you pull up the clips, man. Like it is bad. They literally like we went from Hawaii, which is, you know, it's tough to go from Hawaii to that, but like we couldn't have found some high school field. I would have honestly like understood like a high school field, you're supporting the community, like it still would have been sad, but it's better than some warehouse. Like it was bad. The game was bad. No one cared about the game. Like it's
Is
worse
that the
than the All-Star
Bay's
game
fault
and
though? I mean, is that just more the Pro Bowl is just at a convention center level now?
that's tough. That's tough. They
Did
could
they
have
even
at
have a
least done
game?
a real
They just do
field.
7-on-7 flag football.
Yeah. I mean, they could have found some field instead of putting some turf over like a conference center. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? It
Yeah.
was sad. But yeah, no, the Super Bowl experience, you know, of course, some okay celebrities there, but yeah, no, I didn't want to go. But yeah, of course, I had to jump on before the Super Bowl. I don't know, Rem. Like at the beginning of the season, like you didn't. No one thought these would be the two teams, right? Like I don't think anyone can take themselves serious and be like, "Oh, I knew it was gonna be a repeat Super Bowl." Repeat back to that Marshawn Lynch one.
Definitely not, but I don't know. I still don't really know what this means when I ask this for the bigger picture of the AFC. Maybe I just still want, just the opportunity for the Colts to win just to be closer than I think. But do you think, like, do you look at this Super Bowl and think if the Chiefs were in the playoff, this version of the Chiefs, like, do you think I guess obviously you could have been in the Super Bowl, but like, do you think you could have been in the Super Bowl this year? Because this is like every year it's been a little bit worse for you guys. But there has been that just reliability that like, okay, we get into this and Mahomes is just going to be the one guy in the AFC that's going to be able to figure it out time and time again. So I don't want to take away from like the level of competition that Mahomes has gone against over the last couple of years because it has been great. I mean, and some of those games themselves have been really great, but it does seem like again there has been that inevitability of the Chiefs as well too. But a little bit like Brady over the course of his career, where yes, Brady figured it out. There was also a kind of an equal amount of times of like teams beating themselves, and the Chiefs were just like the one team that in the playoffs just ultimately never beat themselves most of the time. Pause, but do you think that this team like this version of the team with this version of the AFC playoffs, like is this just a wacky way that the playoffs played out? Or like you're saying, do we get to the end of the season, or do we just have do we just have to admit the Patriots are just like the best team in the AFC? I think it's a little easier to admit for the Seahawks, but maybe the way the AFC played out, it feels like for me we could go back and reshuffle that a couple times and get some different results.
No, the Broncos were a better team. They just didn't have their quarterback. And it's crazy to say that like Bo Nix was leading the best team in the AFC, but I think their offense was good enough that if they had Bo Nix out there instead of Jared Stidham in normal weather, I think they're the Patriots. Also, side note on the Patriots, of course, I haven't been following the pod as religiously as I should be, but have you spoke at all about Bill Belichick not being a first ballot Hall of Famer? Now, I listened to the whole interview Ryan Russillo had with, I think it was Mike Sando, who was in the room. They were talking about the breakdown, blah, blah, blah. I'm worried about my guy. I don't care. Things like the Hall of Fame, like money, they only work because people have trust in them. That's the only reason why any of this works. Is why the reason why the stock works. Any of this. So if you are gonna not put in easily the best coach, I
Yeah.
hate to say that those words are even coming out of my mouth, but pause. But you have the best coach of all time potentially get in. Yes, it's a year after the rules are weird, and y'all think twice about it. Y'all have a serious discussion about it. Like it's not a no-brainer. Like he was saying, they've had years past where it's a no-brainer, and with him, it wasn't a no-brainer. Like that, it was even an argument is insane to me. I mean, just shut the place down. Like honestly, like I understand, people who aren't as good as others slip in. Like I get lowering the standards. It's tough. Like I'm not gonna shut it down because like don't you don't need to shut down the NBA Hall of Fame because Mitch Richmond got it. Like I get it. Like people sleep, but we have the best. Like
Yeah.
the best. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts, and you don't have them in. Like that's insane. That's insane, and they should shut down the Hall of Fame. Should be ashamed of themselves, and I don't know why we have it at all. What's the point of the thing? What's the point? I get it. It's he can go in next year, whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Sorry, Len Dawson. Sorry, whoever else got in. Like I understand Kraft, and he didn't get to go in. And I know like the whole saying, like the closer the ball, the closer the ball. I don't care. He should have got in. Many of those Super Bowls are clearly won by Belichick, by that defense. Real ball knowers know. I think there was like a stat that was like, but Brady only threw one touchdown in his first Super Bowl run. Like what are we saying? Like, what are we
Hmm.
doing?
And I obviously everybody agrees with you. I just to at least lay out the other side for the because you did say to shut down the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So I don't know if I would personally want to shut down the Pro Football Hall of Fame, even though I do think it is a bad move. So if I can defend it for at least keeping it open, like they did say that, and again, I don't know if it's also the fact that Bill Polian was the leader of the
Oh
one
my
that
gosh.
kept Belichick out, and he was also
Bill
the
on Bill crime. Like, what are we doing?
Bill on Bill crime is crazy. But the fact that this guy built the Colts roster that I grew up rooting for as well too, maybe I'm just like blindly reacting with Polian on this one, but they did, of course, cite the cheating scandals. It's not like Belichick will never get into the Hall of Fame. It's just he didn't get in as a first ballot Hall of Famer. So, again, there is obviously that chance that he would get into the Hall of Fame as well too. But for him getting in again, it's not even the Hall of Fame is not you have to even be the greatest of all time to get into the Hall of Fame. Like Andy Reid is a first ballot Hall of Famer, is he not? And again, we don't necessarily. I guess. Well, Bill
Really?
Belichick.
I don't
Yeah, I don't know.
know.
Is Bill Belichick still gonna get in? Is he?
But-
Andy Reid might have to wait. But in theory, that career, you win a couple Super Bowls, you have a little dynasty run, like that should be enough. And Bill Belichick had 2 of those runs as a coach with the Patriots. So it's like you would be able to. He's probably a first ballot. Say it again. He's probably the first ballot Hall of Famer on the strength of either one of those Super Bowl runs to some degree. If there isn't, again, even a little bit of scandal, because we have to go back in the moment, like. I mean, in some ways, we have to kind of also remember, I guess, how much we did hate the Patriots teams in the moment. And Belichick has actually kind of like turned it around and become a likable guy. So it's kind of weird that again now.
Has he? I don't know.
Well, for
The
a
girlfriend
moment there,
thing.
he had the apex of like being the likable guy at one point.
Yeah.
And now
then he started dating someone.
Yeah, now he's crossed back over, I think, into the other side, and you can't win a football game anymore. But yeah, it's not even like you have to be the greatest to get into the Hall of Fame as a first ballot. You just have to, again, hit that certain level. So if he was, again, like Eli, it makes sense. It makes sense that like Eli's going to get into the Hall of Fame one day. Maybe there's
Eli
okay.
Manning. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Maybe,
I think the main one they were talking about was his coach, Tom Coughlin.
Coughlin is like Coughlin's another good one. Like maybe Coughlin gets in. Obviously, like Coughlin's not a first round Hall of Famer right away, but Belichick is, again, there's obviously no denying that he should get in, and there's no denying that he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, and then also he is the greatest coach of all time as well too. It's like you could build the argument, either way. It's still, again, it's Bill Belichick. So it's clear, and obviously, yes, the people, do I say the Pro Football Hall of Fame is corrupt? Or do I say that they're clearly petty against? Are they petty against Bill Belichick? Like it's obviously that everybody is petty against Bill Belichick, and it reflects poorly on the Pro Football Hall of Fame that they don't have the integrity enough. But yeah, I think he will. I think at this point, it's gonna be a lock that he gets in next year. Like that would be. Then I would agree with you to shut down the Hall of Fame at that point.
I don't know. Who knows? It's insane. It's insane. There's no standards. Like what do we have these standards for? I mean, it's tough enough. This everything else in the country's falling apart. We don't need the Hall of Fame falling apart too. Like, can we have something? Like, geez, Louise. But back to football. I think. Drake May. There's a reason why he was second in the voting for MVP. There's a couple people who were like really mad that Stafford got it, even though Stafford had like 15 more touchdowns and like 2,500 more yards. But whatever. I guess Pats fans still still wilding out here. But I think that I do think that the Broncos, unfortunately, were the best team in the AFC. Bo Nix got hurt. It was a snowy day, and they kind of got lucky. I mean, they had a blocked field goal. Like, you go back to that game, there was a lot of chances the Broncos still could have snuck their way in. So, I don't know if you've given your pick. I definitely think it's going to be the Seahawks. I think the Pats are going to step up. I think it's going to be a close game. I'm really actually happy for Vrabel to be in the Super Bowl. I've always liked Vrabel. He's a good coach, but I do think
he's pushing it right now. But
he's pushing it. But I do think the talents on the Seahawks are huge. JSN, Njigba, that's how you say Drewski. Wallen, JSN, Offensive Player of the Year. They got some pieces. Kenneth Walker's great. That defense, if they just learn not how to almost jump into the other team's lap and get taunting. As long as they keep their tempers down, they'll be all right. I think they're gonna win. I don't know if you've given your pick yet.
I can't make a pick. I'm not gonna jinx it because yes, the Seahawks are clearly the better team, but they're obviously neither team is that proven commodity at this point of we're locking him in for that playoff success. But I mean, it would seem more likely that if we look back at history, that Drake May is the more special quarterback between the two of the guys.
I don't
So
know. Sam Darnold's been playing on his mind. That last game against the Rams,
Sam Darnold's
he
really
walked it
great.
like you talked it.
But do you think
He beat the MVP.
is Sam Darnold going to be Steve Young? Like, is he going to make the Hall of Fame? And I was actually talking.
No,
You
he's
know,
not gonna go Hall of
I was
Fame.
talking a little bit about that. He wins the Super Bowl. Like, maybe he has a couple good Pro Bowl years. Like, maybe he, has a really good second half of his career, obviously. But it's
Yeah.
clear that Drake May could, by, the way we rank quarterbacks, however, there is that potential that he could get that classification of, best quarterback in the league. And I don't know, Sam Darnold could have a season where, again, I mean, he was pretty close to the MVP conversation, but he really wasn't this year. And he could be maybe next year if it's a really strong year. But I just think the legacy potential for Drake May at this point to me is a little bit stronger than Sam Darnold. And that always makes me scared to pick against the guy. Now, it could be early. I'm not saying, Drake May's Michael Jordan, but, Michael Jordan was losing, to the Celtics early on, and you can't necessarily blame Michael Jordan for that. It's just how it goes. His team is rebuilding. So, again, the Patriots are just maybe not quite as talented as this Seahawks team, but they're kind of close, and I think they're a little underrated. Like, I don't know. I haven't necessarily gone roster to roster at this point, but, like, Christian Gonzalez, if he's healthy, like, he can match up there for, like, Devin Witherspoon on the other side. He can obviously, it just as a matchup standpoint in the game plan, match up against JSN as well, too, and be an interesting coverage option there. And they can control the game on the run. Like, if Drake May is creating with his legs, like, I think they're going to be close. Like, the line's 4.5, and I maybe just want to take the Patriots to cover the line more than I want to actually pick a winner, if that makes sense. Like, do you think the Seahawks are going to win comfortably in this game?
I think they're gonna be up like at least a touchdown most of the game. I think it may be some like close moments, but I really do think that they are significantly better. I think the Pats haven't played a real team all season. Like, what's the best team that the Pats have played?
You don't
Like,
think like the Chargers, playoff Chargers? I mean, I know Herbert's got like a playoff Herbert label, but
exactly.
they didn't
Like,
really make the Chargers didn't do much. Like, I do think the
that wasn't
Patriots
even a close
defense.
one.
Exactly. Like, I actually think the Patriots defense is
That
something
was,
right now. Like, I don't know if we can look back over the whole course of the season and say it was necessarily like statistically one of the best defenses in the league over the year, but I think right now, if we, I don't know if it's fair to line up the teams that got eliminated right now, but I think if we were lining everybody up right now and just if we kept playing the regular season, like, I think the Patriots defense, we'd like look back and be like, oh, the last 6 weeks, like, the Patriots defense has been the best defense in the league. So I think the way that they have kind of shut down some of now Herbert, of course, is in that Chargers offense have struggled. Herbert's had his struggles all year navigating some of the pressures of that. But I do think that this
Yeah, I
Patriots
mean,
team does the talent that they have maybe is a little bit more even.
yeah, and I'd say probably the best team they've beaten is the Ravens.
Yeah,
Um,
and they weren't even in the
week
playoffs,
before week before Christmas. You said what?
and they didn't even make the playoffs. So
Yeah, but that was a field goal though, field goal away.
yeah,
So I mean, borderline playoff team. You're still playing against Lamar. Like that's a decent win. Yeah, I think that's only the real game I'd say. Like, I mean, you could say the Bengals, but was Joe Burrow hurt? Yeah, that was Joe Flacco playing. So yeah, I guess I mean if you want to look at a real game, it is that game against uh Lamar Jackson. And yeah, I mean
even that
that
game against
one,
Buffalo though.
yeah, but they won. The Buffalo won.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I guess close game that they lost. I mean, and then they did beat Buffalo earlier in the year, but yeah, division rivals are always like a little messy. But yeah, we'll see. I think the Super Bowl, I mean, the Seahawks have been a lot more tested. Obviously have an anti-Pats agenda, but we'll see. I mean, I think most people would take Drake May over Sam Darnold, but Darnold has just found a way to make things click on this offense. And I mean, they were like saying like the Seahawks have beaten the second, like fifth and 10th or something. That like essentially three of the top 10 defense DVOAs in the league.
hmm.
Well, the Seahawks are number one. So, I mean, they're going against arguably the best defense in the league. against the offensive player of the year, some really good talent everywhere else. I don't know. I think the Seahawks are also looking for revenge. I don't know how many people are from that last team, but
And that is an interesting point as well too, because there is some. It does seem like there is some franchise trauma a little bit from that event, in a way. I
yeah.
was just talking about this with the David Davis getting traded to the Wizards, because I was saying that it still doesn't necessarily feel like the Mavs fans have like fully claimed Cooper Flag
That's
yet
true.
as their franchise guy, where there is still that trauma from like, hey, like we still could have had Luka, and they haven't fully moved into that new phase of like you have a player that can
He
be a.
hasn't had any playoff moments though, so
He hasn't, but I mean he's cooking right now. He's cooking, and
yeah,
he's
true.
and we have.
He's making it happen.
It's just where we're at in the season. I guess they won't make the playoffs, but I'm sure he'll have good moments when he gets there as well too. But it's kind of that it's kind of that same situation where I just don't know if they've necessarily been able to emotionally move on from that moment in a way. Like it has defined. It's kind of one of the defining NFL moments of just of this century. Like you would obviously put the
It,
Tyree catch in there and what that meant for upsetting that
you know,
undefeated team as just maybe the single most, but that one especially it kickstarting the rest of that second half of the Brady run there. That's the first of
yeah.
those last four Super Bowls, and then I'm not saying that he wouldn't win the next three. It's a little like do the Spurs not win the revenge title season if they win one the year before, but just for that to so dramatically play out the other way. Because we were just rewatching that game on the live stream the other day as well too, and he had a couple of picks in that game. Again, if that's three Super Bowl losses in a row, not saying that he's not in contention for the greatest quarterback of all time, but it's just a different thing where there are he doesn't move into that undeniable type of fear territory. And again, the Seahawks franchise itself, Russ was there for a while and there was some stability there, but they were never able to you know get anywhere close, I would think. Maybe we talked ourselves into it, but realistically, you look back and you go, that team was never really anywhere as close as they were to being with that Legion of Doom team. So it does feel like for franchises that where you have two completely different rosters and two completely
Mm.
different set of guys, where even that Philly team that was, in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs, not that they were, rematching against the Patriots, and they beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl, but, there was some crossover guys there, but Howie Roseman turned over that team so fast. But it's been over a decade at this point. But it does feel
Yeah.
like the franchise if I'm reading it right, it does feel like the franchise, like you're saying, does actually. It's a good point. Like maybe the Seahawks feel like the people in that building, they need to cleanse it a little bit from what happened over there.
Yeah, no, and it is something that, hopefully, will make a little bit more of a fire, but won't really be in their head. But that is, something that it is that they're gonna see over and over, the clips, Malcolm Butler. And it is funny that he's like, oh, I'm more known, I know more for than just that play. And it's like, all right, dude, like
Yeah.
that's the only thing we know you for really. But yeah, I don't know. I do. I mean, obviously, hopefully you have a pick by Sunday, but we'll see. I don't know. But I do love that you brought in the NBA deadline because a lot happened. Were you surprised? I mean, there's players everywhere. I feel like it's pretty much you need a new 2K game after all this. Like,
Yeah.
no one's in the right place. Like,
Should they start
it's
release? Should they
it's
start
crazy.
like dropping like 2K 26 and a half, like in the middle of the season,
Pretty much.
just
Pretty
to
much. Did you
mix things
have
up?
a favorite trade? I don't know. I mean, I think the sneaky best one, which people are gonna suddenly remember,
Ivy.
especially if you said who?
Jaden Ivy? No,
No,
I was just
no, good
guessing.
try though. If of course, I gotta bring this back to my boy Tatum. If Tatum comes
Oh,
back and they
Vooch.
have Vucevic too, is Vucevic just a younger Al Horford with less defense? Like,
Oh,
I'm just saying I like that they got rid of Amphrey. I think that's definitely a move, knowing that Tatum's coming back, and they clearly
that I
need
would agree with.
size.
Yeah.
And Vooch, I mean, people are kind of putting him down like as a fourth, fifth option in that Porzingis role, a cheaper Porzingis. Like, he can go and shoot some threes. He can get you some buckets. I think he's great for what they need. And to get him instead of Amphrey, who was going to be who already was too expensive, he was going to, I mean, there's too many guards. I think that's a great. I think that was a great trade.
And I was watching a little bit of that. They were playing earlier though against Miami, and I was
Hmm.
watching a little bit of it, not super closely. So this is like, I wouldn't necessarily consider this NBA journalism, but
Hmm.
it is a little underrated. I think what Porzingis did in that finals for the Celtics. I mean, he was offensively efficient to like a crazy degree. I don't know if we go back and review his field goal percentage for every game, but I mean, especially the way he impacted that first quarter of that first game and set the tone right away, where just the matchup nightmare that was. I mean, you knew that series, if they could continue to attack those matchups, it would be over. As good as, do you think? I guess, do you think Vooch could have that type of performance? Because again, I guess if Tatum plays a little bit better, then there is always the chance that, than his numbers were, I should say, in the finals, even though, ultimately his series numbers were pretty good. But, he's going to be off of, if he is playing this year, he's going to be returning off injury as well too, so he might be a little bit, hampered in that regard. But if you say just blank slate, normal version of Tatum, normal version of Jaylen Brown, Derek White, Pritchard, just those pieces around him. If you need a Porzingis level effort, or like you're saying, I guess Horford is a little bit different because a little more corner three, and like you're saying with the defense and the hustle. But I guess so you see him falling into either one of those lines where he could be just an insane heat check offensive guy, mismatch attacker like Porzingis was that season and in those series for him, or in that Horford role, like you're saying, where he is just defense, hustle, all the energy stuff, get the team rallied up, be the leader, hit a corner three. I mean, I think he could hit the corner three in that scenario.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a mix of the two, right? Like he's not gonna be a leader like Al Horford, but I don't think he has as much talent ceiling as Porzingis. Is the reason why Porzingis, has that unicorn name. I don't think he's gonna be scoring as much, but I do think that I think he's like essentially the middle class Porzingis. Like he'll have if he's open, he'll hit some threes. He'll have some good solid rebounding stuff. He's a good rotation player on a good playoff team. And of course, Stevens comes out and saying there's no pressure on Tatum. I know Tatum, they were saying like he had that workout and then now he's like not sure if he's going to return. So it is back and forth. And quite frankly, like the Celtics are kind of good without him right now,
Yeah.
second in the East, which is insane to think
In
about.
the
Shout
East,
out the Pistons. Yeah, I mean it is the East though, but still. But yeah, I don't know. It is kind of crazy. Cade and like they say, is number one in the East. But um, yeah, I do think that was a great trade. I think is definitely smart for the team. I think it's a good now, good future trade. Like it works with their timeline because they are in a win now ish mode, but they still have like a little bit of runway with this team. They already got the championship. These are proven winners. So, you can take someone like this who may only have like really 2, 3 good years left in them, but that's really how far you're thinking when you have Tatum and Brown.
I guess. I mean, and they were able to trade. I mean, Porzingis for something that became something that became something. Brad Stevens, of course, has now proven himself one of the more creative GMs that we have.
Man.
But it does seem like there is a little bit, like you're saying, of a timeline ceiling for Vooch as well too. I mean, Simons, if he doesn't really nail down a role in the league, might be headed for a little bit of a mystery destination type of what roster does he end up situation on. But for bringing in Vooch, like I don't know if he's necessarily the if this doesn't work out, trade him type scenario. I mean, I guess he could have a short contract. Maybe you're clearing up some space down the line there as well too. But like you're saying, I do kind of think that they kind of should have just stuck this out. And I think that Tatum is definitely, like you're saying, gearing to return. But I don't want to say that they might be the third. Is it crazy to say that without Tatum in the version that they were playing, they were the third? I mean, that's where they were seated at, right? The third best team in the East. But I kind of think that they were just by default for me, kind of just like okay. I mean, at this point,
I didn't think they were going to be a top four team in the East for sure. I mean, I knew Jalen Brown would be good, so I maybe fourth, but I didn't think they were going to be this good.
yeah, and I mean, with the way the East is shaping up, like it seems like the Pistons, of course, are a real threat. You have to give the Knicks credit for their talent, but there really is not another team that you would see as threatening. So I'm not saying the Celtics would win the finals without Tatum, but just say, hey, like we didn't know we were going to be a successful playoff team. Like, why not just run this as far as possible and then allow Tatum to be healthy, still have a good season, collect the playoff revenue to help, with all the different stuff there, keep the season going as long as possible. Like, it can still logistically make sense just to see what the ceiling of the team was already without necessarily having to gear up for a Tatum return. But like you're saying, I mean, if it does make them better with Tatum, I guess you kind of have to do it, because I guess I guess my argument applies there as well too. If Because again, the East is weak, and if you get Tatum back, you're just a better team with Tatum. I guess, I mean, do you think if Tatum returns this year, the Celtics could win the East? I almost, as I'm sitting here thinking about it, and not necessarily because of the Vooch trade, but just the confidence that I have in Tatum in the playoffs and in Jaylen Brown in the playoffs. Maybe them losing to New York in 6 last year, I shouldn't be, but for them, I almost wonder if, with the way the East is shaping up, if they could win it this year if Tatum returned.
Yeah, I mean, Jaylen Brown has definitely shown some stuff this year. And, shout out Vooch. He did play tonight against a really close game against the Heat. So, and, also shout out Iowa legend Luka Garza. I don't know. He's been showing up here and there. He's been getting minutes here and there. But yeah, Vooch was out there in clutch time, had a clutch assist for Derek White 3, to put them up, and for the game winning, I mean, essentially the go-ahead bucket. So, he was already out here making plays for them. And, yeah, I mean, I think that already shows kind of the trust that, why am I blanking on the coach's name?
Missoula?
It starts with Missoula already has for Vucevic, to have him in, kind of a clutch moment, because, his shooting just it's dangerous enough that you have to be out there. You have to have him pretty much, you have to guard it. And that's what this team is looking. 5 out is what they love. They love, people who can play who are a little bigger, a little bit with size. And I think he'll fit perfectly into this team. It's not a guy who doesn't have a lot of ego, that doesn't really cause headlines, and has just been kind of a solid player his whole career. Plus 11 today, which is like the second most plus minus. So looks like he's already settling in.
So you're saying that this is your favorite move, just in terms of what it does for the Celtics teams in terms of how they position themselves, or you're saying that this is the most impactful move that was actually made at the deadline? Because of course, Harden for Garland, I guess, just Davis going to Washington could be impactful. Not saying that, they're going to win the title again, but could, raise their ceiling the most of any team. So how exactly were you framing the trade then for Vooch in comparison?
I'd say it's the most that is going to lead to winning basketball, because James Harden with Donovan Mitchell is just not a smart idea. I think 2 ball dominant guards, especially one who's injured most of the time. And yeah, you maybe didn't like Darius Garland, but are you sure Donovan Mitchell's really going to stay with your team? And like between the two, that's who you pick. So I am surprised the Cavs moved on from him. I think he's great for the Clippers, Darius Garland. I mean, Kawhi is most times he's fine with not having the ball. And I think having a young guard like him, when he gets healthy, if he can stay healthy, leading that team, I think that's what the Clippers have needed, something young and something good, and they just haven't had both. It was either or. So I think like there were some other moves, like you mentioned, like, are the Wizards kind of sneaky good now? Like, who knows? I mean, they got to actually get healthy. I don't know. League sources are saying that, everyone's going to be tanking. It's going to get real ugly. I mean, you look at the bottom of the East. You look at over in the West, you look at Sacramento, you look at Pelicans. I mean, on both the East and the West, those bottom 3 teams, like, they got nothing to play for. I don't know. So we could see some really ugly tanking. And but yeah, I think Vucevic was the one that most led to winning basketball. And if the team, if the Celtics are in the finals, it'll be like, it'll be the trade. We'll look back and be like, whoa, that like made a lot of sense and could lead them to a ring.
So you don't think James Harden right now is the best teammate that Donovan Mitchell has had?
Man, that's tough. Joe Ingles.
I mean, obviously, maybe Mobley now as well too.
This version of Mobley.
It depends on how you want to frame Gobert's career.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, this version of Harden, like, he's good, but is he better than prime Rudy Gobert?
Could he be? Is this version of James Harden? And this is a tough question as well too. I'm not throwing this out there as like, oh, jokey. It's obviously easy, James Harden. Like, this is a legit thinker. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, we can go to break if you need a second to, really consider
No, we're
this.
good.
I'm sure we could cook up an ad, but I mean, would you rather? Do you think this version of James Harden is more likely to be on the court at the end of a playoff game, or that version of the Gobert on the Jazz?
I'd say Gobert. I really say Gobert. And
Oh,
that's
James.
because the Timberwolves had Gobert on the court. And Gobert, what was that, 25 and 25 in that game 6 with the Timberwolves? I'm just saying,
And
like,
you wouldn't
out of the
answer this
two,
honestly, too, just to.
I think Gobert, no, I think he would be on. And I think, and I got to pick one of them. I'd rather have the guy who's playing defense who may, he might get cooked by a really small guard, but at the same time, I know he's not going to be holding the ball and be a liability and be
Can't
a
hit a free
liability
throw
on
in
defense.
the last minute of the game if you need him
Exactly.
to, but
Like I don't know.
you'd rather risk the other team fouling Rudy Gobert constantly and just sending him to the free throw line over and over again than you would James Harden potentially.
Hack a Harden or hack a Gobert. When's that happen? It's never happened like Ben Simmons.
Yeah, he might actually be okay from the free throw line now that I think
Yeah,
about it.
he's all right. Like
I don't
he's
think you
dangerous.
necessarily
Once he
need that.
starts shooting them, he'll get them in. Like that'll be.
Yeah, I
He's
mean,
definitely a rhythm shooter.
I mean, I feel like he's like a first team takes threes in practice type of guys. Like
Mm,
he's like a first team takes shots in practice that he won't take in a game type of a
yeah.
player. Like Gobert
And then
between
every
the.
once in a while he'll pull it out, like be like a step back in the mid range, like, whoa,
Yeah, it's
Rudy
like
Gobert feeling it tonight.
it's like that Patrick Ewing clip where he's like, "When did you
Yeah,
practice that shot? How many times did you
exactly.
practice that shot?" And I mean, I guess if I was looking at it positively for the Cavs, because I do agree with you that I think just because of by virtue of it's a little bit like Doncic and Davis, obviously not to the extremes of the talent there, but a little bit in
Yeah.
just the fact that the player upgrade may be initial, but I think the timeline of what you're getting with Garland versus Harden is going to win over time with the Clippers. They'll get like an S&P 500 investment with Darius Garland, just good return every season for multiple years. The Cavs might have James Harden for a season and a half, but for this playoff run, could you argue that James Harden's if Darius Garland is going to be a little bit of a liability on defense, that'd be the number one thing you would say for Harden would be he wouldn't play defense. Could you make
Mm.
the case that James Harden's both better at scoring and playmaking than Darius Garland? So you're not really losing anything on defense per se, but you're upgrading scoring and playmaking.
So you're saying James Harden is better because of his effect on offense? I don't know. Yeah, I don't. I
I mean,
still would
like you're
take
saying,
Gobert.
it is definitely going to be down to whether or not him and Mitchell are going to pair well together, and whether or not that vibe is
Yeah.
going to, and whether or not it's going to vibe.
Or did
And
he get an older, more injured
yeah,
Garland?
yeah. And I definitely do have a little bit of like, I'll be optimistic with lineups. Like I have a bit of a park mindset with the guys where I just like any of these guys can run together and make it work. They'll figure it out. Like they're not running plays and sets, and they don't need things to logistically make sense. But I think that Harden and Mitchell can play together. And I guess I didn't even think about it this way. I'm definitely not thinking of the totality of James Harden's career here correctly. But where would you rank Mitchell in terms of James Harden's teammates? Because I know
Mm,
that again, James Harden's obviously not the peak of his powers now. So it's not like, oh, what if we're
yeah.
getting 30-point a game James Harden with 28 a point a game Donovan Mitchell? But again, to think of his backcourt mates, again, Chris Paul near the end of the run definitely had the second life in Phoenix there a little bit. Had a Westbrook season. I'm not wrong. He had a Westbrook season in there. And then what?
Yeah.
Eric Gordon as well too. And then
I don't know
Kyrie
if I
in
put Eric
Brooklyn, it was
Gordon up
weird.
there.
The Maxi
Yeah,
thing never really
Dwight.
worked out in Philly. So I don't know. Like, is it?
Yeah.
I guess. So you're.
Kevin Durant. I mean, Kyrie.
I guess yeah. If we're going
Uh,
teammates overall, but I was thinking more like guard
Russell.
teammates as well too.
Yeah.
I'm just saying like Donovan Mitchell now when he was playing with Westbrook then like Westbrook on the Rockets was still really good, but
Oh,
Mitchell.
Westbrook on OKC though.
Oh, you're talking like original. Yeah. Original
Yeah, he's
timeline.
still
I'm
his
thinking of
teammate.
him.
Yeah,
I'm
that
thinking of him
counts.
post trade for sure. For
All
sure.
right. Well.
So going back, so is this the best? Is this the most peak of his powers running mate that he's had? And then Mobley as a front court player, like I'm saying, I do think that the long term aspects of it, Do I though? I don't know. Maybe I'm trying to talk my. Maybe I'm
Yeah.
just maybe I'm just trying to save face from a narrative standpoint. But because like you're saying, the Clippers are that one franchise that do just need the breath of fresh air. So if anything, Garland
Hmm.
just providing a new look is just a win, even if he's not consistently making All Stars. At the end of the day, where again Cleveland right now is like, hey, like, do we need to be contending for a title this year? Like, why are we falling backwards? And again, James Harden might not be the guy that, like, I saw the Simmons clip on one of the shorts on YouTube where he's like, you called James Harden to get you out of the playoffs, like to get you out of the playoff pressure cooker, and it's like, I get that is definitely probably something that's going to happen again, but I don't know, is there a chance the gamble works? Do you see, I guess, do you see an upside at all where this could work? I'm not saying do you see it get there, but did they
Not
even
really.
give them? They didn't even give themselves the potential to raise your ceiling, is what you say. What you're saying.
Yeah, they didn't. They didn't. And if anyways, if in any possibility, this is the best case scenario is that it works with them too, like it was supposed to work with them and Garland. The worst case scenario is that Harden's hurt. Like even with Garland, he was getting hurt, but I still think there's still a ceiling for him. Like he can get better. Like it could maybe even become Garland's team and used to phase out. Don't need Mitchell. There's no reality with that with Harden. Like this is who he is, and there's no way he's just gonna suddenly get better or get you know he's gonna
Mm-hmm.
regain stuff. So I just think this was definitely a panic move. The Cavs are scared they're going to lose another star, and it's just it was, and I definitely don't know where they go from here if it doesn't work out. Yeah, because I don't know. I don't think they have nearly enough talent to beat like the Knicks, the Celtics if they're healthy, even maybe not healthy, and now even the
Yeah.
Pistons are looking pretty good. Like I don't know. Cade Cunningham, how good can he get? What's the ceiling of Cade is for you? Because I don't know. I've
I
been
was just
hearing
gonna.
like, of course, the box score doesn't look great, but you know.
Are you looking at a season box score?
Well, no, like in terms of points, like he's not really a point scorer. It's definitely more of a
Do you have his
like
season
by
total? Where is he
committee.
at right now?
I don't know. I think it's like 23 or 20 something.
Because I feel like he does have that potential to, put up points,
Hmm.
obviously, if he wants to. But I was just going to ask you about the Pistons, because I was going to ask you kind of a little bit of both about the Jaden Ivey trade and them contending this year. Because for me personally, I have not necessarily framed the East as like the Pistons are the team to fear in the East, or, who do I initially think of as who should be right now, again, looking at themselves as the top of the conference, should it be Detroit? But again, they are kind of emerged as that. And the Ivy trade is a little bit of them being like, okay, we do have our core now of guys. We have Cade, we have Duran, Asar, Holland, the wings around him are going to have their role. Like I was saying in the trade deadline reactions when it happened, maybe the Ivy side of things were getting in somebody's ear, being like, maybe Ivy needs his team, Ivy needs a little bit more opportunity
Yeah.
in a way. But do you, I guess, have you been considering the Pistons as contenders, slash do you now, as we're hitting the All-Star break past the halfway point of the season? Like, do you think that the Pistons should be looking at the East as like their conference contenders, on that scale?
I mean, they should. I don't really myself look at it just because it's definitely giving
You're not
like the
buying it yet.
Jazz. I think it's
Oh,
definitely it's what happens every single time is a young team. They got young pieces at their main spots. Tries too hard in the regular season. They get a lot of wins, and then they face a real team like the Knicks or the Celtics or a battle tested team, and then they lose like in a close series. And I think they have had some, I think they had that one series against who was it last year? Um,
did they take the New York to 7? I think they took New York to 7 last year.
yeah, like there was that close series where it took them to 7 and stuff like that. But I don't know. I don't know if I'm fully there yet with them. I
And I mean, even
still,
OKC had the year, obviously, were good in the regular season, and they
yeah,
lost to Dallas in the playoffs. So I mean, it could be the year before. But I just am not
yeah,
confident in anybody right now, and
that's true.
I am a little bit of a Cade bias guy. Like, I do think that
No,
Cade
Cade's
is
great.
gonna ascend into that franchise corner. I mean, he is obviously that, but in that carry a team to the title type level. but I
Yeah.
am starting to buy stock in Duran as a number two
Mm. He's
impact
just got to
guy.
stay healthy.
He does. He does, but I do think that maybe, again, not straight up from a scoring standpoint, maybe a little like Bam. And I'm not saying he's more
Mm.
dynamic than Bam, but I think that, obviously with
Yeah.
Cade as well. Like, I think it
His
could be
size
like
though.
that. Because Butler and Cade,
Yeah.
it could be similar to like a Bam, to like a Miami situation. I am starting to buy Duran, like that duo, those two guys together could maybe do something special in the
Mm.
playoffs. But I mean,
Maybe.
you're saying that
We'll see.
like Towns would cook him in the play, like cook Duran in a playoff series, because I kind of like Duran in that matchup.
Oh.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I think the Knicks. I think they can definitely beat the Knicks. They just beat the Knicks tonight.
Hmm.
But I think when I'm looking at teams like the Celtics, that's the main team I think is in their way. Um,
So Vooch is
I
just gonna be toasting Duran.
maybe. I mean, I think Jalen Brown's gonna be toasting him.
That's it.
And I
Sarr's gonna have him locked
Cade.
down.
Yeah, I mean, Cade on the year, he has what 25. 9 and 5 on the season, shooting 46% from the field. So he's having a great, season out of his mind. But yeah, I mean, he has games like tonight where it's like 11, 5, and 7, but it's +9, and
He'll have some low scoring games for sure.
yeah, exactly. I think like he's definitely a little bit up and down, but that's kind of just whatever is needed to win kind of player. Um, but speaking on the other side of scoring, Cooper Flag, I think he's been
Hmm.
averaging 37.8 points.
Oh
I think
my
he had
goodness.
151 points in the last 4 games, historically high.
Who would you rather have right
As
now, Cooper Flag or Luka Doncic? Next 10 years, you got to build a team.
you know what? I would rather have Cooper Flag.
You know why?
I would. Yeah.
You know why?
Why?
Is it because Cooper Flag plays defense?
Yeah.
Is this why we traded for Davis? I'm
It's
not gonna re-talk about it. It was the wrong move. Unfortunately, I guess Davis was
well,
not
yeah.
the
You
wrong.
can't go back not for
Davis was
that.
not the wrong. He was the wrong defender. But again, I see what he was doing. You trade for a two-way player, maybe just maybe a little bit of a younger one.
Again, I
Jaden
think
McDaniels.
there's definitely a roadmap for Luca getting traded. I don't think the crazy part wasn't that Luca got traded. The crazy part is that no one was asked. They didn't get any pieces. Like it was under the cover of night. It was a friend deal. Like it was literally for one thing. And now it's even worse with this AD trade. It's like, yeah, you got a whole lot of second rounders, but that's it. Like it's definitely rough. It's like Max Christie and a bag of chips. I don't. It's sad. I do really feel bad for Mavs fan. I'm glad that they
We like
got the
AJ
better player
Johnson
at the
though.
end of the day, but you know, AJ Johnson.
I think
Now
AJ
you
Johnson could be a
defending
role
him.
player.
Get out of here. He could be a pro player. He could stay in the league, maybe.
Cooper Flag, AJ
Whoa.
Johnson, Max Christie. They got
Max
some wings.
Christie and AJ Johnson for Luka Doncic. Yeah, I
And they still got two
don't turn
firsts. We don't even know
don't
what those
twist
two
it.
firsts are yet.
Don't twist the knife. You're hurting them.
If they get a center
You're
with
hurting
one
them.
of those firsts, I mean that's a lineup.
You're hurting them even more.
Wait till
But
AJ
yeah, I
Johnson
think
drops 25 in a second round of a playoff game.
is there a chance? I mean, what are the odds that Cooper Flag wins a ring before Luka Doncic?
I
I
was
think that's the real
just
question.
I was just about to say this. I am more
Like
scared of Luca than or more scared of Flag than Luca long term. Is that crazy? I mean, maybe I am getting a
and even
little
short term on defense now.
yeah, and I'm definitely being a little too biased against Doncic at this
Ah,
point, but I think that if I was even just starting from right now, Flag still needs a couple years to maybe catch up to impact of where Luca's at. I still just think that with what he brings to the table, it would be a little bit more conducive, a little more conducive to team building for actually assembling, and it's not even sometimes it's maybe not even about like maybe it's just like if you can have more guys around, it's just like more different types of teams, then the odds that you'll stumble into your finals lineup is a little greater. I don't even know if that makes sense, but it's just like the idea of building a team around Cooper Flag just seems to me a little
well,
bit more intriguing and a little bit more versatile than it does around Luka Doncic or a player like Cooper Flag. And
well,
again,
there's a player you like a lot who's still based in Dallas, loves Dallas. Doesn't play there right now, but I don't know. Streets are saying Cade Cunningham,
Whoa.
unrestricted free agent in 2030 when he's 28. He still goes back to Dallas in the offseason, makes appearances.
Who's saying this?
Flag
Which
would
Dallas
be
writer penned
23.
this?
It's some rando. Landon Thomas.
Is
It's
this
some
Reddit or
rando.
is this a blog?
It's X, but
So what has he
I
said? He
don't know.
said that he's just going to sign with the Mavs in 2030 as an
He's
unrestricted free agent.
saying that Cade's around. Cade stays around.
Daniel
He's
Gafford
around.
and Cade and Cooper Flag. PJ Washington. Do they have to let go of PJ Washington by then to get the contracts to
I
work?
don't know.
And then what about those
I
two
don't
second?
know.
I don't know. Cade might. I don't know if Detroit would necessarily let that happen.
2030 is so far away, it feels
Seems a
like.
little bit of a. What about Devin Booker? What if the Mavs trade for Devin Booker in like a season and a half?
Devin Booker. I mean, that contract though. Do they even have like five players who can make up his salary? Like, who do they have now? I guess they still have
True.
Kyrie, right?
Yeah, Kyrie. When does
Where,
Kyrie
yeah, where the
retire?
heck is Kyrie? Like,
We
can
might
someone
have
put
to
out an
just.
APB on him?
Yeah, we might have to just, emotionally move on from a team building standpoint and focus on some other guys on the roster. It is what it is, though.
Yeah,
I don't know if they're gonna get
that's
much more
crazy.
there.
I kind of forgot about Kyrie Irving. I'm not gonna lie.
But yeah, I do think that Cooper Flag is kind of scaring me. And I would still
Yeah,
there's still and I don't know how selfish I can be as an NBA fan at this point because again, like it's clear that whatever the Spurs are brewing as a core, like Wemby as however you want to phrase it, Wemby as the best player slash the fact that we have him paired with Castle and Harper, like both those things together. There's not
Vassell's been
Vassell, Keldon
solid.
Johnson. There's still not a scenario at this point that I wouldn't switch any team's roster in the league for the Spurs. I wouldn't trade any player in the league.
Even OKC. Come
Nope.
on now.
Nope. Nope.
Get out of here.
Nope.
Even with Jared McCain added, which was my second favorite pickup, Sam
Whoa,
Presti added
Sam
again.
Preston. Jared McCain.
Yeah. Wait, you didn't hear that one? He got
No.
like it was a low first round, and of course they can't pick their picks, and for like a first rounder that's gonna be in the 20s, and they snuck it in and got Jared McCain at like the 11th hour. So
Hmm.
of course now there's all the memes, the Zestiest team, whatever. But imagine you already are making practically unknown players into solid rotation guys. Now imagine he gets a good guard, with talent, and other guards are good, but like a talented guard like McCain, you know, a little patient. Who knows? I think he is gonna flip him. In my opinion, he probably is, but especially with SGA injured, I think there's gonna be plenty of minutes for McCain when he comes back.
I
Or
think
I don't know if he's
honestly,
injured,
Sam Presti is just building up the Oklahoma City Blue at this point. He's just built the Oklahoma City Thunder normal NBA team so stacked that now he just has to start trading guys for the G League team because this sounds to me like McCain's going to be playing with Ousmane Dieng and wherever
I think
Oklahoma.
Ousmane Dieng is gone, isn't
No way. They traded. Was it Ousmane Dieng for Jared McCain? Because if that's the case, the Sixers won the deal.
he? That's crazy.
Did Presti trade Ousmane Dieng? I don't know if that means I should give
Yeah,
up
he's
on.
on the Bucks. He traded
Oh.
3 times in 24 hours before landing with the Bucks. So the Thunder
Oh.
traded him to the Hornets in the Plumlee deal. Hornets traded to the Bulls in the Kobe White deal, and the Bulls traded to the Bucks in a 3-team trade with the Suns. So
Oh, you know what? Giannis? Can I put on my cowherd hat real quick? Giannis,
gosh.
we're good. We have Ousmane Dieng. We'll see you later.
Get out of here! Get out of
We can
here!
build around Ryan Rollins and Ousmane Dieng and
Not him being the centerpiece of the trade, though. That's funny.
Beauchamp. No, I
Yeah, I guess they sent because it was sent Cole Anthony from Milwaukee to the Suns, and then Nick Richards to the Rich. Yeah. Anyways, but
wait. Where did
yeah,
Nick Richards go?
Usman Jang. You said what?
Where did Richards go?
Nick Richards to Chicago. You saw
So
Chicago
they got
change
Richards
like
and
8 of their
Ivy.
players. They changed like 10 of their players in Chicago. It was crazy.
Because I did kind of like the Ivy move for him as well too. And I
Yeah,
don't know
didn't
what
I
they're.
that sure.
I don't really know what type of team they build because it seems like they always end up building like at best like a 51, like maybe even a 48 win team. And then it's just like,
Yeah.
hey, maybe this team if they add one more piece, they could be really good. And then they just kind of putter off and everything. It's like that DeRozan Levine team with Vooch. It's like, oh, could this be something if they end up getting another piece, or if DeRozan is like still a second team All NBA guy? And it's like, yeah, that never is actually going to materialize into
That's
like a
funny.
championship team. But I mean, I think Giddy, great value, great swing for them, looking back at it as now as well, too. I mean, great move for OKC to get Caruso, but still for the Chicago lens of it, great swing on an asset. I mean, I think Ivy is a great move in that vein as well, too. I think he can actually play with Josh Giddey. And I think Nick Richards
definitely
is a guy that can play with them as well, too. I think he's a great centerpiece there.
You like Nick Richards. Okay,
I think he's a good rotation center. I'm not saying he's like, going to swing championships, but I think in an age where you do need a guy that is a 7-footer that can run around and get rebounds and block shots, like I think he can do that. And the Suns have Malawach and Mark Williams, so they're a little bit more set there. Makes sense. Maybe get a little backcourt help, but I do think that he can. I would take him on the Spurs, if that means anything.
Nick Richards,
yeah. If he could play with Wemby as that kind of traditional 5 and let Wemby be a little more perimeter rotation defender type of guy, or he can be just the center and they can space around him if they need to. So I again, he's not I don't want to seem like I'm overselling Nick Richards here, but I mean I think that
sounds like it. I don't know. Player. No, you're making him sound goated. Yeah, I just like
the swings that the Bulls have taken.
Yeah, I mean, I understand them doing something different. It doesn't really look like they got a plan in mind. So it's like I don't know what they're hoping for, what they're going for, like who they want. Like it just kind of seemed a bit haphazard, and I was definitely not the only one kind of saying it. So I don't know. It is one of those things where it's like what are you all hoping to get out of this?
Yeah, but I do still like what Ivy was starting to turn into as a player.
Yeah, but like, is his ceiling like the best player on a championship team, or like even the second or third?
No, but what did they end up giving up? Kobe White, right? Was he in the deal?
Yeah.
I mean,
they just wanted to stop being average.
Yeah, I like Kobe White for sure, but I think that Ivy does have a little bit higher upside than Kobe White, and I think that he is, at least for the next couple of years or season and a half, I don't know exactly for how long, but you'll at least have him for some time on a rookie deal, so maybe there's a little bit of a contract reset there, but again, he's actually a little bit of a bigger defensive guard that maybe can balance out next to Giddey as well too. And I don't know where, maybe if they end up getting lucky in the lottery, I don't know if they would be that team, and they would be probably still, on the back half of it, so I don't know if they'd be getting like Caleb Wilson or one of those end of the top, one of those non sort of top 3 type guys that are in the mix, Mikal Brown or something like that. But again, it's more just the collection of guys. I don't know what the upside is, but the individual moves you just kind of have to like that they make. Maybe like a better version of the Pelicans, where it's like you like all the guys that are on the Pelicans, but still it just doesn't really make sense for what the team is. But it's just like, hey, Ivy and Giddey can be a fun backcourt. As well, and the fact that like Chicago is one of the closest driving teams that I can get to as well. Like it seems like, hey, they actually built a team that I might want to go see.
The agenda's coming out. Yeah, I mean,
Milwaukee's
that's true.
Trade Giannis, so I guess as long as they keep Ryan Rollins around, that's all I'm gonna.
Vucevic wasn't getting you out the house.
No, unfortunately he wasn't. It is what it is. Oh wait, did my camera just die? Oh no, wait, it didn't. Okay,
no.
It just flipped right on the other one. We're good to go though, but. Yeah. Was there anything else in the trade deadline that was interesting?
No, nothing too much. No, I didn't have too many notes. I know College Ultimate Frisbee's back. Shout out Florida warm up. It was crazy windy, but that was about it. League is going on, and I did have a big announcement. Big announcement. Yeah. So Naya, friend of the pod, and I are starting our journey to make a coffee shop / cocktail lounge here in Vallejo. We are, it's a couple years down the line, but we are looking to launch in downtown Vallejo, kind of a third space that would be, the foundation will be a coffee shop. We'll start with a coffee cart, kind of long, that'll be the main part of it, but later down the line, also it be half cocktail lounge, and it will be called Tempo. And so our catchphrase is, your pace, our place. So,
Ooh.
I know. That's been
And I'm
everyone's
guessing you
reaction.
cooked
So we
that
think
up
it's a game
without
winner. So
ChatGPT.
it was a collaboration. And that was mostly us. It was all us. It was all us. But it was definitely the idea was definitely all us. But it's just definitely looking at the city of Vallejo. There's definitely a couple restaurants here, but not a lot of places for people to just kind of sit, chill, enjoy something warm. It's a lot of sit down restaurants. You're kind of like expected to buy stuff and not really a comfortable lot of areas. So we're definitely looking to build a comfortable safe space, for people in Vallejo and the downtown area. So, but yeah, it's definitely in the works. It does unfortunately mean, maybe less pod appearances, but I'll try to show up as much as possible. But yeah, I
But you
guess
gotta hustle.
who
You gotta
knows? Maybe
hustle to get something like that off the
I
ground.
know,
So
I
I mean,
know. Maybe one day this pod will have an official sponsor. I don't know, Tempo. Who knows? But
mm.
yeah, that is ongoing is why I've been even more gone than normal. And yeah, no, we're already kind of leading our coffee operations at our church. They have like a coffee cart that we're running, so we're kind of getting training in that while
Ooh.
launching our own thing. So yeah, a lot of things in the works. It's been a crazy couple months as we try to put everything up. I don't know. There may be announcements coming out, maybe some merch, maybe some stuff. Who knows? So be on the lookout at my. You can follow online.
Yeah, is there
Let
any
me
types of
actually.
socials or websites that are in the works at this
Yeah,
point?
our
Or
Instagram
yeah,
is
what do you
up.
I
Our
gotta follow
Facebook
this
is
right now.
up.
I mean,
Also TikTok.
chat, just go picture in picture with the YouTube. Hey yo.
That's funny. TempoCo.707 on Instagram, and then I think we're Tempo707
Tempo code.
on Valet on TikTok. 707 is like the phone number slash area code here in Vallejo. So
Ooh, okay.
it is, yeah. I mean, we've both only lived here a short time, but we definitely have fell in love with the city, and yeah, it's the area code for here. And yeah, I think it's been a crazy journey. I think a lot of permits, a lot of little network stuff. So we're still building a little bit of a foundation, but once we're ready to launch, you'll see it on our personal channels. You'll see it on TempoCo.707. Make sure you go follow it. And yeah, no, excited to see where this leads.
No, you definitely have to keep if when you got updates, you have to make sure to drop by with an update because we're gonna make sure that the people are locked in. I mean, you can't just throw words like merch around and then not expect to just at least keep us informed. Because if you're
Of
telling me that your
course.
boy can wear a T-shirt with Tempo Co on it, repping the
Hey,
707,
look, I know you got restaurant experience, man.
make
I
no
mean, could
mistake,
we
the
get you to come to
T-shirt,
the Bay?
the T-shirt is
I don't
gonna be
know.
on. Oh well, now we're talking. Oh, hey. I mean,
Hey, 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 hey. A restaurant veteran as yourself?
yeah, if you say that sentence two more times, I just appear there. It is what it is.
That's funny.
The
That's
rest of
funny. No,
hopefully the
you.
restaurant's not hearing this. It's not a long conversation.
Hey, look. They know what it is. They know how it is in the food industry. You go where it leads. But no, everyone else
I
we've
just
told
got my
to
W
has
two. I can open
already.
it and show it to him.
I don't know. He might be on a wait list. A lot of people, we had a lot of people already, say they want to pick up a shift. They want to, everyone, I think one of the things is like once it's set up, everyone kind of wants to be a part of it. And that's what we love. We definitely want it to be like a whole community thing, our own community, Vallejo community, every community. But it's just funny to see like everyone's like, yeah, once it's up, I'll pick a shift. Or I know there's some people who are like, yeah, you got to give me a job. Like, come on. So we definitely have felt the love from our family, friends, everyone we've told, and yeah, no, it's really exciting. It's really we've seen a lot of doors open. Shout out the Lord, and yeah, we're gonna keep on chugging. So I don't. It's crazy to see how stuff has fallen into place. I don't know. We're definitely gonna be posting a lot more on our Instagram, TikTok, Facebook stuff is going to be going up. But yeah, we're finally kind of telling people, making it official. And yeah, we had to like put, some stuff out there, public notice,
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, we're doing this. So we're like, "Well, fine, we're just going to tell people." And so here it is. I don't know. it's just it's crazy to talk about, and yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll get you in the Bay sometime. I don't know.
I
Even if
mean,
you just come to the, there's plenty to
I'm
see
gonna be
here.
there to support. I'm gonna be there to support regardless. I'll show up. I'll be in the
All
shop.
right.
Make no mistake. When it opens, I will be in
Hey,
the
look,
shop. It is what it
best
is.
believe it. You'll let know. We'll let you know about that grand opening.
I will be
You
in
best
the
believe.
shop.
All right, best believe. Well, yeah, but that'll be a couple years down the line, 3 to 5. But we're definitely looking to launch a cart sometime this year. Kind of go to farmers markets, local events, and then as we gain confidence, maybe do some catering, maybe private events. Who knows? So I think there's definitely a lot on the vision board, but it is gonna take a lot. It is gonna take a lot brick by brick. You already know food service is not easy,
Yeah.
and it's but no,
But
it
it
is
is it
exciting.
as you know. I mean, I could be the stereotypical guy to sit. I mean, I just did. Oh, food service is tough. I mean, I of the people in the restaurant, I definitely have the easiest job, so I'm not the one that's gonna sit here and complain. It is what it is. But again, it as and I guess not to get the other side of it, but it is something that is enjoyable. As there is an enjoyable
Hmm.
aspect to food service as well too, and the idea of serving people and people enjoying a good meal, the idea of people enjoying food, but then like you're saying, the community that can invite people around, like both aspects of it are obviously a beautiful thing, and there is just a great and very I'm not gonna say it's not an easy satisfaction, probably that's not the right phrasing for it, but I'm just saying at sort of that basic level of like, again, food is, just one of those foundational building block things that communal
Yeah.
eating experience and just being able to, when people enjoy that experience, that could be one of the most memorable things. And like you're saying, but also to be able to have just a cool environment as well too, to be
Yeah.
able to like hang out and
No, that's what
because
we're excited for.
that is where our restaurant kind of hits both sides of it as well too.
Mm.
Pause where there's some
Oh, a little ad time.
there is, yeah. Now I'm just giving promo for our restaurant as well too. I mean, if you're gonna pick one, I'd say go to Sam's for sure. It is what it is. But there's like a lot of businesses around, so people will wander in the mid afternoon and just like hang out in the
Mm.
restaurant, even though it does kind of double at night as like a little bit more of a sit down dinner spot. But yeah, I mean that type of like working environment type place was when I was in the Bay, I was definitely searching out, seeing what was out there for that and hitting up those shops and hanging out there. And it's obviously, a hot take. You don't need me to tell you it's super fun to hang out at those. So, I mean, this is
Yeah.
definitely very exciting, and we're ready to support. We're ready to get the word out, like you heard him say. Like this is the important phase right now. The buzz. You got to create the buzz. You got to let the people know.
Yeah.
Hey, there's this new shop opening up in Vallejo. If you're ever out there, check it out. Tell the people out there to check it out because word of mouth is. I mean, regardless of what happens, word of mouth is still the number one most important thing. So the buzz. Just
It
got to start
is.
creating the buzz.
It is. Yeah, it is. And it's going to take a little bit to actually have a physical store, but I
But
think there
whatever
is
form it
going to be a
is.
lot of ways. You said what?
But it's just about supporting whatever form
Yeah,
as well too.
exactly. There we are going to make it easy to support us. We definitely appreciate the support. We need the support, you know. So it's definitely exciting. I think the city is definitely really open to a lot of new businesses and new businesses that are really going
Mm.
to stay there and are committed to being here. Like a little history about Vallejo. So they did have a huge shipyard here in the 40s and 50s during the war. And so they built out the place and used to have a lot of people here. And then the shipyard closed and it like really bankrupted the town. It was really tough. And
Mm.
now the city is kind of starting to build back up again. They have, planners in place for the city, in terms of planning the future. The island nearby, they're starting to put in plans to like really develop it, like bring like 30,000 more people on that island. The downtown there's a lot of opportunities. So the nice thing with it is that the town has already some character, but it is a little bit abandoned, and so there's definitely places in the downtown for businesses to come in and bring the culture and bring something. They just want businesses to come and stay there, and so that's definitely why we're trying to build up to it, make sure it's like a sustainable foundation. So yeah, we definitely don't want to go to like some bank and take out a loan and then
Mm-hmm.
be struggling. So I think it is going to take a little bit, but once we have a store, we definitely don't plan on leaving. So I'm really excited, and it's crazy because we already see our end in sight. So it's just trying to figure out how we get there, and it's like it seems really daunting, but and like definitely in the places we're thinking of, like it's definitely a place you kind of have to fix up to your expectations. So, but those that downtown Vallejo definitely has a lot of character. The people over in this town really care about that area and wanted to see it grow. And one of the places ways it grows is a business. So and love to give back to the community in that way too. So no, we're definitely excited. We're done with corporate America. Get it
Yeah.
out of here. We're done. Get the corporations out. We're done. We wanna start our own, and so we're excited. We're excited.
No, and it's great as well too, especially especially in this day to just hear individual stories about people, just trying to continue to start and create new things as well too, and like you're saying, forge their own paths, and
Yeah.
I it's easy sometimes to project those types of things just onto greater society, and maybe it just gets the people that we're connect with in our own algorithms as well too, but you just hope that in some ways that sort of mentality can just be sort of a common mentality that is starting to maybe get reclaimed a little bit. And again, maybe it's just specific to certain areas, I don't know, but again, it is just an opportunity for people to, like you're saying, just show community at important times. So yes, this
Yeah, yeah,
is.
and I've definitely worked in food service myself, like in the kitchen and stuff. But it was like a franchise burger joint, Culver's. But
Yeah,
for anyone who doesn't, but yeah,
I mean, if
but
they're from
yeah.
the
So
Midwest, they know.
exactly. No, and I definitely have always wanted to get back into food service, but like something that was sustainable and not just, working, which is totally fine to do, but like especially once you have a family and stuff, it's just like, you start thinking about the future
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, I just want to build something for this. So, yeah, it's gonna be a lot of long nights, a lot. I already know. I still remember talking to the owner of the restaurant I used to work with, and he was like, "Yeah, I used to work like 80-hour weeks." So I know it's gonna be insane. Obviously, like, it's gonna take a lot, but I definitely think it's worth it, and it's one of those things where you gotta be a little delusional, you gotta be
Mm-hmm.
a little crazy to see it through. You just don't see a reality of it not working. You just gotta go for it, and it's gotta be laser focused because there's gonna be a lot of things that are gonna rock you, and we've already had some stuff, but I know there'll be more, and it's just you gotta be a little delusional.
But like you said, there is a need, and you have seen people already receiving, there is like a positive reception already to what you guys have been doing. So, I mean, if you have those things early on, I mean, you don't,
Yeah.
obviously you guys have started down the path, but it means that you guys have probably started down the right path.
No, we're excited. We're excited. But yeah, just wanted to let you know. Yeah. So if we're gone a little bit, just look at if you're missing me on the pod, just make sure you're following tempoco.co 707 tempoco.707 on the Instagram, on the Facebook. We're also on TikTok. And yeah,
See, look at
you'll
that. The
see our
promos
journey
are
together.
natural for him, chat. The promos are natural for him.
Hey, look. Who knows?
People
Who
will be
knows?
going into the
Maybe.
coffee shop. People will be up by this, going into the cart,
Oh my
walking over.
goodness.
He'll be like, "Yeah, you just follow us on socials, follow us on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. You can give us
Yep,
a
everything,
slide in the, you
everything.
can just."
Hey, it was the podcast game that taught me, It was Rem and Sam, the talking, it,
I'll be
it
like, "Hey,
taught
I've
me
heard
how
that
to
speech
talk.
before."
That's funny. That's funny. Well, still follow Rem and Sam, I know Rem's
Heck yeah.
still doing his thing, still cranking out the regular content, even with me gone and back and here and there. So I know I've been seeing the streams. Every once in a while I'm like, oh, what music has dropped? I know Rem is right on it, and yeah, I
We
don't know.
try to
I haven't
be.
listened to the new J. Cole album yet, but
Have you listened
I'm
to
excited.
any new music? Anything? What's the newest? Even if you have to go
Um,
back to 2024 or 2025
yeah, I mean,
to.
I heard like 21 Savage's album, like
Oh, okay, yeah.
that one. Yeah, no, that was pretty good. That was pretty good. I think I was starting to give up on the year in terms of music, and then like, it kind of felt like it was coming back a little bit, ended well with that. So,
You a Don
yeah, I
Tolliver
have to
guy at
listen.
all? You get into sort of the melodic
No, I didn't listen to that
pop
one. I
rock?
think I put it on my saved playlist though.
Yeah,
I need to take a listen to that one. Did you like it?
yeah.
Okay.
I've become a
That's
bit of a Don Tolliver.
Oh, you're in.
Yeah. I respect the
Okay, okay.
catalog now. It is what it
Octane,
is.
all right. I'll take a
Even some of the
listen.
other ones. I would say I honestly it was the last album. Heartstone Psycho was the one that was the like, oh, this is the moment that you listen to Don Toliver now. But this album, for him delivering on this album again, and for
Yeah.
him just continuing to deliver now over these last couple, it's like, okay, this guy is a proven. I mean, and this album as well too. I think you could see that rise that Hearthstone Psycho brought to his sort of popularity as well too. Because when the first week numbers for that dropped, it was pretty good. I think, again, I don't like maybe 70 some K or whatever. And then obviously for it just being a consistent streaming hit throughout the course of the year. But you could see now with the initial rush to this project, now he is certainly solidified as just like a big superstar in the game. So,
Yeah.
I was definitely on the later side of obviously getting into his discography. But I mean, now he's obviously one of the mainstays for 2026. So yes, obviously the new album was a hit for me for sure.
All right. Well, it is now saved on mine, so I have to take a listen. I have to definitely listen. But oh yeah, shout out the Hornets, longest win streak in 25 years.
Con
8
Knuckle.
wins. I know, but they're showing LaMelo on the graphic, of course.
He
I
nip
mean,
slipped all the way
did
to
we
the
talk about
fifth
this?
pick.
Do you have, or what are you saying?
What? No, what were you saying?
Is Cooper Flag locked in as a rookie of the year or
As rookie of the year? I mean,
Knuckle,
I guess no. I mean, again, like I would still pretty confidently in a redraft go back and take Cooper Flag. Like I think Knuckle is definitely showing himself. Like I will say, like he's gonna be a lethal offensive player. Like he is already kind of and maybe not all the time, but when he gets going, like he's gonna be a guy where he's gonna hit that I'm surprised when he misses territory. And I don't want to get a little too dramatic because I'm not saying he's gonna be like a Steph Curry, but his offensive consistency is definitely gonna be there. He will, I think, of course, be attacked a little bit on defense, of course, but I think that this season, yeah, absolutely, he could snag Rookie of the Year, especially if he just, continues to go on like a 10-game run. That's insane. But I mean, Cooper Flag's just getting better as the season goes as well too, and especially now without Davis, like the field goals are going to be.
Oh my gosh! I mean, Kyrie's gonna come back and be like, "This is my team, right?" Oh.
Yeah, it's going to be like Wade with LeBron. He's going to be like, actually, I gave the team to Cooper Flag.
Yeah, he's gonna come out and be
the next press conference. He'll be like, Cooper Flag's been playing so well lately that I think it's time for me to pass the mantle. It's time for me to officially make this Cooper Flag's franchise.
I don't know. Last time he did that, he gave up on him. So I don't know. That's crazy. It's just, I don't know. Cooper Flag is insane, and we've been knowing he's insane. But I'm just glad to see he's gotten adjusted to the league, and now he's really doing whatever he wants.
I know the immediate impact is there. The scoring is already starting to be a lethal thing.
Yeah.
Because
that's all. Oh, what were you saying?
I was just saying he didn't have like that score label going into the draft. He just was kind of like gonna be a great player. But yeah, I mean the points are there.
Yeah. Are we disappointed in how low the Olympics has fallen that we just don't care? And I know like the Winter Olympics aren't usually as popular as the Summer Olympics, but like less and less cities have been trying to get the Olympics. It's getting more expensive. It just doesn't make sense. Like, I don't know. Do you think there's ever a point we just stop having Olympics?
I don't think we stop having them, right? I mean, I think we could definitely maybe reframe the way the games are hosted. But I don't know if we would stop having it. I mean, we can't stop having the Summer Olympics. The Summer Olympics are still too much fun.
Yeah, we have to do the same.
I'm not going to lie, though. The best thing about the Winter Olympics is that they make the wait to the Summer Olympics feel shorter. But I don't know if I'm necessarily ever get excited for the Winter Olympics themselves. Do they have, unless they add ice basketball. If they ever add like ice basketball to the Winter Olympics, then I would.
How would they do that? Like you play on skates?
I think you could honestly dribble pretty. I don't think it would be like if you dribble the basketball, it's gonna like slip and slide like way out. I think weirdly, just with the way it works, I think you could still. Maybe when you start doing crossovers and stuff, like you hit an in and out, it might.
Yeah.
It might slip around. I don't know. Should I take a basketball to an ice rink as like a Winter Olympics sketch and say,
isn't that how you get thrown out of those things? Like you start.
I'm not going.
I
never go to the ice rink.
People running and shoes on there.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna be worried about me. There'll probably be some other people acting up that will get kicked out before.
Probably.
But I'm never over there, so if I lose my privileges, guess what? the other 364 days of
How
the year,
how far
I'm
away
not
is the
there.
closest one though?
The ice rink from here? Maybe. Well, no. There's one in. We got a little hockey team, so there's an ice rink over there.
You can't play. You can't. They don't allow the general public inside of the arena.
Yeah, they do sometimes. They have general admission over there.
Well, in Coral Ridge Mall
No, by the baseball
at the
stadium.
arena, Extreme.
No, we're thinking in different cities. But yes, if I was in IC, the closest one would be the Coral Ridge Mall.
Oh, there's one in CR. You guys have a hockey team?
Yeah,
Oh, the Rough Riders.
yeah,
Oh yeah, that's true. I didn't know they allowed the public in there.
yeah. They do.
Oh, okay.
It doubles as both.
Yeah, I thought you were just thinking the mall.
No, I could go to that one though. I mean, it's only you hop on the interstate. It's 30 minutes away. Would I get kicked out of the whole mall or just the ice skating rink? I think they would just tell me to take
Oh,
the
the mall
basketball
owns
off.
the rink.
I don't think I would get kicked out. I think I would just get told to leave. I think there's a difference between like being like, well, I guess
Yeah.
getting kicked out is different than being banned.
They
as well, too.
sometimes give you
I don't think I would
banned.
get banned.
I think if you were like, if you hit someone with the ball, they would. But
that's
I
true.
think
If somebody
you're
got
just,
hurt, I would get banned.
if
Otherwise,
you're just like, what? I didn't know, bro. What? Yeah, that's stupid. They just probably kick you
I'm
out.
just filming a TikTok, man.
Whoa, hey, the guy said it was cool. I saw someone here last week.
It's for my podcast.
It's for a good cause. It's for charity, bro.
It's-
You just,
Yeah, I don't know. I think I could probably. I don't know. I think I could get like 2 laps. I'm not a very good skater, but I just don't think anybody is paying attention. And nobody's working at that rink down there. I don't even know.
yeah, it is kind of dead.
They don't have like a worker monitoring like the ice skate rink.
You just gotta go like weekday, like when you're off or whatever.
I mean,
weekday
there's always
at
somebody
noon,
out there just like
11.
hustling, running drills. It could just be I'm just like training for some event. Like I just ice
Yeah,
basketball. It's a new sport.
if you're there at like 11, like
Yeah,
3 in
nobody's
the,
gonna be there.
no one's gonna be there. They just go whatever. They're not gonna care.
I'll try it out. I think it might work. Ice
I
basketball.
remember that. Jeez, I forgot how much I missed that ball. Jeez. That
You get
did you
nostalgic
ever
for the
go?
ball?
Did you ever go to that kids museum?
Of course. It wasn't necessarily, it was definitely like remember the time we went there more so than us going there all the time. But yeah, we were there like
Yeah.
once or twice for sure.
Okay. Yeah, that was I remember that kids museum.
And then
too.
I definitely went once when like we had cousins in town and then their kids, like their little kids, we took them over. And
You
I
gotta
was like,
go to
yeah,
the
let
group,
me wander
yeah.
through. And
Yeah.
it's pretty lame.
And then yeah, it is pretty lame.
But
I
it was
remember getting there.
Very cool
being
when
like-
we were kids.
Yeah, I was like, whoa. No, that mall, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I lived within walking distance of it, like it was 5 minutes away. So a lot of memories made at that Chick-fil-A, at that Barnes and Nobles. Like we walked to do concerts there.
Yeah, imagine if you lived in walking distance of a mall, you definitely lived at the mall for sure because we did
Yeah,
not live at the mall. Walking
it
distance,
was
but
about
I
it.
imagine we would have been there a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like we were in like downtown Coralville, where the come and go and that Chinese buffet place are. Like what?
Yeah.
There's nothing like it's no. It was definitely that was about it. I mean, downtown Iowa City. I'm not gonna lie. It wasn't until I was an adult that I really went. Like, all I went to was like the library sometimes, but I never really went to like anywhere down there like to eat or anything until later. Then my sisters went and they're like, "Oh my gosh, there's stuff here," and I'm like, "Oh okay."
Yeah,
But,
I mean,
I
you
was
can
always at the
definitely
mall or
like
something.
downtown IC is great. Like, you can bum around and have a
Yeah.
good time. But it is also like, yeah, I mean, you could easily just be doing school and there's like nothing to like draw you away. It's just
Exactly,
more,
yeah.
you can find your cool spots.
Yeah, and I mean, I was always stuck, where I was at that Culver's because that's where I worked. So, and then yeah, we'd always go to Buffalo Wild Wings right there. So I just actually took her for the first time now to Texas Roadhouse, and man, did she love it! They did. First of
Like
all,
out in
it's a lot
Cali?
cleaner. Yeah, it's a lot cleaner. So I think this is a general Texas Roadhouse thing. Like before COVID, they used to have peanuts everywhere, and it was disgusting. And I don't think anyone liked that.
That was the
Now they
trademark.
cleaned it up.
That was the gimmick.
Yeah,
The gimmick was like if
now-
you go into Texas Roadhouse, it's dirty because peanuts are just shells are just everywhere.
Disgusting. I remember going there New Year's Eve one time with friends. Nightmare city, but man, with that onion flour worth it. But no, we went and it was a lot cleaner. The peanuts were bagged, and most people don't eat them because you have the rolls right away. And I don't know if they do it there at the Corville one. I can't remember, but here you walked by like almost like a deli-ish section, and you could pick a steak that they make for you. I don't know if they do that everywhere, but I didn't end up picking a steak, but I did get the ribs. They were kind of mid. I should have gone with the steak. She loved it, and she was like, "We gotta go." So big fans of Texas Roadhouse over here, and I understand why
Wow.
Texas Roadhouse is huge. Like just like in Iowa, it's like an hour wait to get inside. Like you got to do the sign up beforehand and then get there to check in. Like
Really?
it's just like everywhere else. Yeah, they
Huh.
do that there in Corville too. So
Yeah,
it's
I've never
crazy.
really gone that much, but yeah, like they're like another like famous like the bread like the rolls like Red Lobster. You
Yep.
used to get the biscuits. Like it's like the Texas Roadhouse rolls like are really famous. But yeah, the
Yeah, I know
peanut
that.
shells were iconic. But otherwise, yeah, I've never really gone that much. But there are some of those places where there was a restaurant. They still have them around here, but Cheddar's used to be one of those ones where it's just like, why is there an
Cheddars,
hour wait
yeah.
every time we go to Cheddar's? Like, what is happening?
Yeah, Cheddars is the stuff, man. I still remember getting Cheddars and I got like the biggest Big Bag meal. I think it was like a rack of ribs with and it came with a side of chicken tenders and there was fries and
Yeah,
I was
they
just like,
did. You could get
"Oh
ribs
my."
and chicken
It
tenders.
was good. That was so good. I was like it was crazy. But yeah, Cheddars, man, I forgot about Cheddars. You unlocked the memory
That
for
is true.
for
That is like the staple of those types of restaurants. It's just like a chicken tender combo. It'll just be like
yeah.
this month it's burgers and chicken tenders and fries. And then next month it's ribs and chicken tenders and fries. And then it's a
Yeah, and like
steak
even
and chicken
Texas
tenders and
Roadhouse, you can get a
fries.
side of shrimp, you can get a side
Shrimp and chicken tenders
ribs,
and
a
fries.
side of something like, and I'm sure everyone has their order. Like I get a steak with a side of ribs and shrimp and blah, blah, blah. Like there was one dude we saw like a couple tables over who had like he had like 5 or 6 to-go boxes, and he was just doing it so neat. Like you could tell he was a professional, and he handled everything with care, and he's just
Yeah.
like building this tower of boxes to go boxes. I'm like, bro, like forget shopping. Like we had a couple, but it was
Do you
I
guys
was
have a
like, all
shopping
right.
cart I can take this out in?
I know, right? It almost felt like it. Might as well. Might as
I'm gonna
well.
need someone to
But
haul
no,
this
the
out.
drinks were good. Everything was it was a really good. It's worth it. Worth it for sure.
Wow. So there you go, chat. The coffee cart is gonna be. It's gonna have the Texas Roadhouse aesthetic, just
Yep.
completely
We're
lived
gonna
in.
be stuck outside one. Yep.
Think
We'll
of
be
it as
set
an
up.
think of it as an outdoor coffee themed Texas Roadhouse.
Yep. Same kind of service. It was funny because they kept like doing their advertising, like they're talking about like fall off the bone ribs, fall off the bone ribs. Like they just say the same
The
thing like
tendernism?
20 times. Oh my gosh, don't get me started on that. Did you see that whole controversy?
Oh,
Like,
controversy.
yeah, like so what's his name? Um
Oh no! What happened?
um
Walt?
what's his what's his name?
They got Walt?
No, yeah, the reviewer, who's the main
Oh,
reviewer
the
guy?
guy with the guy that threw his glasses?
No, the guy with kids. And he came to the Bay Area and they sent him to the Tenderloin. He's like the original reviewer. He's like, I'll rate it out of 1 to 10. Let me eat it, try it, and rate it 1 through 10. I'm trying to look him up.
And then what did he say? Because I did see a.
Um,
I mean, there was a. I mean, I want to say maybe the end of the year, December. I mean, the amount of videos from Destination Smokehouse I was getting through my algorithm was just absolutely insane. So I was definitely getting a couple where it was like, hey, I went there and this
Bro,
time.
Keith Lee.
Oh, you know what? I did say some did start to see headlines about this. What happened? He said it wasn't good.
So um, Keith Lee, he went to the restaurant and he wanted to meet the guy. And he found out, first of all, the guy isn't even the owner.
Well, no. I
The
mean, there's
guy is like
if
some side dude.
yeah,
And then
if you were locked into the tenderism lore, you know that there's like the guy with like the beard or whatever is the owner. Yeah,
yeah,
he'll go
but
out
the
and greet
guy
a
he was
table.
some side dude, and then
He's a
he found
personality.
out like he got like some bad service or something. He wanted to give the side dude like
Oh my
tenderism some
goodness.
money, and then the guy came tenderism came like they had a message, and it made it seem like the owner was like forced him to be there, and then they found out like he really had been cutting the meat so it could easily fall off the bone, like it was all fake. The barbecue was
Now
mid,
that
and then
is
eventually he
interesting.
kicked out. He kicked out
Whoa.
Tenderism, and now he just does it himself, and he like thinks he's so cool, like dancing and stuff.
Who,
So
Walt or the
Tenderism is
owner?
done. We're out.
Like Walt's on
Treating
his
him like
own now?
trash. I think so. I don't know what happened to
Well,
him.
that's a bummer if the OG pairing is split up, because that's like, that's
Yeah,
like
I don't know.
Rosillo and Simmons leaving the pod together. It's like, you just can't
Yeah,
you can't
are they gonna
replicate the
do
old
it
days.
still? I
What?
don't know. I still wonder if they're gonna do the playoffs. I'm scared.
Like, wait, you think they're gonna do the same pod together?
No, like yeah, they used to do like the playoffs during the NBA playoffs. They do a
Yeah,
pod.
that's cooked. They left. He
He could
left.
come back as a guest guy.
No, they have beef now. They have
Maybe.
beef.
You think they got beef?
Go back and look at the guest run that Simmons had right after he left. He's petty.
I don't know. Russillo just had Dana White, so
Yeah, Rosillo had good guests around around
had
that
the
time too. He got
Barstools
Gruden and stuff.
guys.
I was gonna ask you earlier if you had a take on Netflix getting into the pod game at all.
It is kind of weird. It's very weird. Like, who flicks on Netflix to watch a podcast? Now, one thing I do think is smart is that there are more and more people who want background noise, i.e., my wife. So, I mean, I could see like trying to steal those views of people who just want to have something on in the background. But I don't think a lot of people think podcasts when they think Netflix, like, right?
They don't. I think it's annoying. I think it is smart though. I think it will
Mm,
take them a slower burn to maybe accumulate obviously more in that library. It's still a little bit limited. And the
yeah.
original podcasts that they're starting, don't necessarily have obviously the same like like obviously, again, like Simmons and Rosillo fan bases have been around for a decade, 20 years plus at this point. They don't have the same type of instilled, dedicated fans. But obviously, if you want to listen to those guys, you got to go over there. It is what it is. And yes, I mean, as annoying as that is, like, oh man, I don't want to go to Netflix to click on a pod. It's like, well, what if, if you don't want to listen, if you want to listen to it, what are you going to do? You got to go over there to listen to it. So I will say for me personally, like, I mean, I'm not going to, at some point, it's like, how many of these places am I going to go to consume this stuff? I made up my mind. At this point in my life, I'm YouTube and Spotify. And, if I'm going to watch a
Yeah.
pod, it's going to be on YouTube. It is what it is. But I doubt that anything is going to be hurt at the end of the day because it is on Netflix. And like you're saying, the background noise, there have been a couple of times where I have gone to Netflix and kind of scrolled through the movies. And I'm like, the only reason I'm not playing Rosillo's pod is out of principle. Because I just am wanting to gravitate back into that type of thing again, and maybe that's just a dedicated fan base again as
Wow.
well too. But yeah, I think that it is probably smart for them to start to go the YouTube route with their content and get into more of that
Yeah.
creator style stuff. Because I think that obviously YouTube, it's not that YouTube is the future of entertainment, it's that YouTube is entertainment now. Like YouTube is
Mm-hmm.
way over TV. YouTube runs the game. So it's like maybe Netflix, should at least get into this style of content. Is Netflix going to be YouTube? Who knows? And yes, do I wish that Netflix sometimes was more Tubi and just focused on, here's a random assortment of 15 to 20-year-old movies that maybe you want to watch. But in terms of a business move, I think it's smart. But I'm rambling now at this point. Not really
No,
letting
it's
me
all
answer the
good. I
question.
think, yeah, I mean, I definitely miss having the video part of Russillo's pod because now it's like I have to go to, actually, I don't know where they have it because they don't post the full ones on YouTube anymore. So it's
No, it's
like,
on Netflix as well.
yeah, so now you have to go to Netflix to watch Russillo's pod, which is like, all right, like, I'm not doing that. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna put it on while I'm driving. So it's just, yeah, it is really, like you said, really disappointing, really annoying, and yeah, we'll have to see where that all leads. But I don't think they, I don't think it's gonna obviously make as much money as they think it will. Like, it's definitely not worth it, in my opinion.
Yeah. Because
Bang versus Buck.
it is one of those things that I wonder if it is like, it is them getting ahead of the curve a little bit, them trying to stay ahead of the streamers catching up to them. Because now you have all these other platforms that have kind of become the same thing that Netflix has, and now this is like the next innovation is again that YouTube style content where again like Peacock doesn't really have podcasts at this point or HBO Max, or if they do, they're obviously
No.
not to the same degree as Netflix at this time, but like I said, I think YouTube is still obviously the number one for that. So there's no danger there anytime soon. Spotify, obviously, moving into the video game. I guess I will have to double check if
That's
Netflix
true.
did they get that deal with Spotify or was that with just the Ringer? I guess the Ringer is Spotify, so doesn't really matter there. Hey yo, Rem and Sam don't know corporate structures. It is what it is.
Shout out.
You're gonna,
But no, I may have had a groceries mishap, so I have to go get some more groceries. The bags. The shout out to the new federal laws that now make it like, or it's state laws, and now we have paper bags, like actual paper bags, and so they tear. And so I may have torn a bag and spilled a couple
oh,
jugs of milk, and it spilled all over the
oh,
parking lot. But whatever. So I have to go get some more milk. I need some milk, but. Again, thanks for having me back on the pod. Check out tempoco.707,
tell a
Instagram,
friend.
Facebook, TikTok, coming soon. And yeah, I guess go Hawks, go Seahawks. They're probably gonna win. Get these Pats out of here.
All right, good to see you.
seeing
We'll
you.
definitely stay locked in on the updates. We can't wait to hear on the next development next time you tune in.
Heck yeah.
Bet.
Bet.
Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too.
Let's go, chat. Hey, yo, I'm not saying that. Well, I guess it is what it is. I'm not. Sam, he could have called into any pod in tonight. I'm sure he had, to let a couple people know that no, he is going to be joining the Rim and Sam pod tonight. Unfortunately, Sam calling in is the one thing that would have supplanted J. Cole's album. I don't know. We like we said, we had the Olympics. I don't know. Maybe the summer. Would the Summer Olympics opening ceremony have outweighed J. Cole's album? Probably not, because we would have double back and pause and just watch the Summer Olympic events as those actually took place in later episodes. But catching up with our guy, of course, is hey yo. I guess you don't hate to say it, but it is what it is. That it's real life. So we're gonna just talk to Sam. It is what it is. What he's calling in. So I guess. Super Bowl Sunday? Is it going to be Super Bowl Sunday and us actually listening to J. Cole's album? I don't know. But there was some fun beats that did catch my attention a little bit as I was listening. And again, I definitely always gravitate toward J. Cole's more pop tracks just because I tend to find, not to say that I'm not against or I'm against the lyrical content or blah, blah, blah. But, like I'm saying, I'm trying to have a fun time driving around in the car before we, officially become washed. And it's like, well, now let me just overthink this lyrical content and be like, I relate so much to J. Cole. But that is also, sometimes when you're a little younger and hormonal as well, too. It is what it is. But Bombs in the VOD, Hit the Gas. It seemed like there was maybe I don't even remember what we were. Yeah, does it kind of pick up here? Now I'm not even in the live stream anymore. Just listening back to the album. Kind of picked up a little bit in the middle of this one. Pause. The fall off is inevitable. Lonely at the Top bonus. Is that like the Joey album? Hey, yo. What else? There was another one that was kind of interesting. Just one more. I don't even remember what I was paid. Maybe it was just 39 intro, as well as 6-minute track. Hey, yo. So maybe we just cruise this ourselves and see what's going on. I don't know if we have time on this live stream to unfortunately double back and hit the double album. It is what it is. But shout out. We can't wait to actually listen. J. Cole. It is what it is. I'm sure he'd understand. I mean, this album, I'm sure there's a bar where he's like, did he say, set that aside to talk to my friend. Set aside the album review to talk to my friend. Didn't want to blend in the takes to make amends. I don't, so we'll let J. Cole stick to the writing. It is what it is. This freestyle, IT will cut out. Shout out. But yeah, we'll be back Super Bowl Sunday. Stay locked in. Hopefully we're going to be able to have a very, very fun and, just great time hanging out here on the YouTube. Hopefully we're able to hang out for a while as well. We're, of course, with the Super Bowl that day, the last game of the NFL season, hoping to really take advantage of the opportunity to have fun with NFL's, of course, moment of the year. So lock in. Hope on the Street. What did I just click on, chat? Hey, yo, J-Hope and J. Cole. Who is J-Hope? Should I know this? Oh, this is, well, I'm not going to assume if they're a member of a group or not. Let me see here what it says. J-Hope is a South Korean rapper, dance writer, songwriter, music producer, and member of the 21st Century group. Member of 21st Century pop icons BTS. Okay, so he's part of BTS. Shout out to J-Hope. I guess I don't know what this song Streets is, or what did I just click on? It was in, I guess, the music videos category. What is this? Much more from On the Street. So yeah, Spotify, like we're saying, getting into the YouTube game with the music videos as well too. I think it's a good move. You know what I like sometimes when I'm listening to music? I like watching a little music video every now and then. Not a bad idea. But yeah, we'll be back Sunday to watch the Super Bowl. Hopefully it doesn't break our hearts when the Patriots dynasty continues. Shout out to the Patriots fans. You've had your time in the 21st century. It is what it is. I'm not saying that America is thrilled that Seattle is the other option. We hate to, replay familiar storylines, but, I'm just saying of the two, Seattle is apparently the better option this time. It is what it is. So I'm not saying that that's always worked out in the past. I'm just saying that in this Super Bowl, we hope Seattle wins. Shout out. So stay tuned. Sunday we'll be here. Stay tuned. Follow the socials for Sam and Naya's new project. I mean, we gotta, of course, say congratulations. It's just a big step forward for them, and we cannot be more proud of them. Obviously, it's not. Sam's not on here spitting ideas of like, hey, we were talking about this thing. Wouldn't it be fun if we tried this? We've always thought about. There was action, there was plans, there was steps taken. Of course, steps that they know that they are going to take, that they are actively taking as well. So, obviously there is that, hey, support our friend aspect, but it's like also, support people that are able to take action and they're able to take ideas and make those actionable. And now they're able to, get results. They're able to, obviously, be enjoyable people along the way to work with as well too. So, I mean, hey, yo, chat, like, come on, what are we doing here? This is a no-brainer, and we look forward to, like we're saying, just even, we'll be locked in on the gram, we'll be locked in on the socials. That's where the updates are going to be. We're going to try to sneak some updates on the side. Hey, yo, pause. We're going to try to sneak some info. We'll try to drop some Woj bombs every now and then when we can. But, that's the place to get the updates. Follow the socials of those projects, and stay tuned for what they have going on. And like I said, stay tuned for the Sunday live stream. Super Bowl, Seahawks versus Pats. We'll be here. Looking forward to it. IT just cut the mic early. Hey, yo, if anybody just tuned out, I mean, you're not wrong. We're definitely leaving. But I guess that was our Columbo moment. One last thing. We had to reconnect the microphone. Okay, we'll be back.